got a major rebuild under Barry Odom. Devin, Mockobee, we just talked about him, the lone returning starter, such a terrific story. And to jumpstart the process, he went to the portal and got 54 new faces, the most of any team in the country. We are thrilled to have the new man in charge, Barry Odom, joining us here on set along with Yogi and Jerry. Coach, great to meet you. Welcome to the Big Ten. Welcome back to a city you know very well. I'm sure you're the only coach that didn't really need a restaurant recommendation last night.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me and being able to spend some time with you guys. So much respect for the job that you guys do. Continue that. Thrilled to be here, thrilled to represent and be the head coach at Purdue. We're excited. 37 days from today, we're kicking this thing off.
Who's counting?
And our team will be ready to go.
Yeah, I know you will be ready to go. And we just mentioned what you were able to do at UNLV in a very short amount of time. When you come in to take over a program where you're kind of starting over from scratch, there are so many things that need to be done. What was 1A when you got to West Lafayette?
I think the first thing, I wanted to meet with the team that was still there, and there weren't many guys left. I mean, most everybody had already left, after the season was over, before the new hire was made. But I wanted to have meetings with those guys. So I had a team meeting and then had individual meetings with every player that was still left on the team. And then it was about building the staff, building the organization, and then just going to work, laying the foundation, the habits, what it's going to take, pouring into our student athletes and giving them hope, vision, and belief on what we were going to be as a program, and then your daily consistent actions on what they needed to look like. It's been a fast 7 months.
Oh, I thought you were going to go again.
Oh, I mean, I can keep going. Yes. All right, Coach. Well, I guess when you talk about the 7 months that you've been there, Devin Mockobee, I do want to ask you about him because he's one of your 3 players that you brought here today. He is what represents, I think, a lot of what is good about college football, and a guy who decided to stay. Your only returning starter. He's a terrific running back. He wants to get his chemical engineering degree. What is it about him when you first sat down with him that made you realize you had somebody really special?
Yeah, I look at really the values of Purdue, and I've started talking about the Purdue way on toughness and discipline, trustworthiness. Devin embodies all of that, and he's a couple hours short of getting his chemical engineering degree, which is substantial in the world of graduating from Purdue with that. Also, he's 1,200 yards away from being the leading rusher in Purdue history. So he'll go down as one of the great ones, and he does it every single day on his habits, his work ethic. He's got respect in the locker room. He has been able to help galvanize all the newcomers with the returning players and the high school guys that we had come in. Certainly excited for him to represent our program.
Coach, this is the 3rd time you've started the program. What did you learn from the first 2 times that maybe changed?
Yeah, there's, as you know, in the head coaching chair, there's not a manual that they hand you and say, hey, you've got this issue. The answer's on page 7. Every team's different. Every program is different. But I do know to the core of it, this team is and was hungry for structure and discipline. And then at the end of the day, it's still based around real true relationships built on openness, honesty, love, those things that teams crave. And I think that in the world that we get a chance to coach in today, how exhilarating it is to be able to build and galvanize a team together, find ways to connect them, whether you have them for 7 months or 5 years. It's our job to make them the best they can be in that short time.
So from the beginning of this short time you've been with them and you started to instill that hope and that connectivity, what have you noticed from week 1 of doing that to now when you hear about a player run workout or you connect with a player in a one-on-one meeting that has changed?
Yeah, there's so many. When you take a step back and look on the progress that has been made in 7 months, most of it is player-led. And that's exciting because the habits are aligning to winning habits on the discipline, the accountability, the work ethic, the gains that we've made physically. We look like a different football team than we did in January, which is a great thing. And then now the application of all those things, okay, can you do it consistently? And understanding that our margin of error is very, very slim, and that's okay. This embrace who you are, be really good on the line of scrimmage, find ways to be exceptional in special teams, win the turnover margin. Situational football, we've got to be a smart team. And then we've got to give them the confidence to go play free, play fast, play aggressive, and play confident.
You played defense. Your coaching background's defense, but you've been a head coach now. This is your 3rd time. So do you lean offensively, defensively, or do you lean CEO?
Coach, on offense, I just draw up touchdown plays. And I say, hey, run these, that's all it is. But I need to know, I'm always going to lean more defensively. That's my background. I'm fortunate because we've got a great staff, and I've got great trust in our coordinators, actively involved in coaching special teams. I'm going to sit in most of the defensive meetings. And then offensively, I want to be able to provide some help, some way, somehow. Okay, what do I look at it through a defensive lens? I want to be able to have the conversations on game days, on 3rd and 4. Hey, we've got 2 downs here. What are we thinking? Right. So we've all got to be on the same page. And then, fortunately, again, we've got a great staff. So in the role of rev share with our general manager, in the recruiting department and personnel and sports medicine, academic resources, and those staffs, it takes all of us to get that done.
First time we went there, Ash and I, Coach, you've been there a bunch, we were blown away with the facilities. Yeah. It was like, oh my gosh, you referenced the 50-plus new faces. What has it been like when you've gotten people on campus as you rebuilt this roster and them saying, whoa, didn't necessarily know this was what was right here?
Yeah, Purdue is not going to take a backseat to anyone in any way. You look at degree program, you look at facilities, you look at opportunities and support, networking, and then you get on campus and at 58,000 students, a beautiful setting. Ross-Ade Stadium is going to be sold out. They're hungry for a winning football team. I'm excited to provide the opportunity for us to go play in that stadium.
I was going to mention that not only the facilities, but the support a struggling team was having. The support in West Lafayette was incredible during the season.
Yeah, it's there. They struggled last year. 3 years ago, they were in the Big Ten championship. Yeah. So it's not that long ago that they were having great success. And you look at, through the test of time, that passion, that energy, the fan base, the Boilermakers across the country are really hungry for an exciting 2025.
Can I ask you to compare the SEC play and the Big Ten play?
I haven't played a game yet in the Big Ten.
Good question, Coach.
Get back to me in December.
It's well-trained media response, too. Exactly.
You can compare 8 versus 9 conference games if you want.
We all should play the same.
There we go.
There we go. Another great answer. As a head coach, there's a lot of different hats that you wear, especially nowadays. And to be able to do something for the first time, from what I understand, in spring practice, you were able to award a scholarship. I believe we have the video of Ethan Trent. Tell me about that moment, how it came to be, and what comes up as you watch this.
Yeah, we've had, over the course of this is year 26 for me in coaching, we've always had a chance to award walk-ons a scholarship. I've just never done it publicly. Ethan Trent in our program, from the day I got the job, he came in my office and had a meeting, and he looked me straight in the eye, and he said, I'm going to give you everything I have. All I want is to be coached, and I want an opportunity. And I said, that's what we're going to do. And we just went to work. And every single day he has proven it. And then he's earned the respect of his teammates, and then he's performed on the field at a high level, in the classroom, and then in the community. And to be able to do that, I knew that the team would respond and be so happy and celebrate his success.
Coach, I'll say this to your point. We've talked about all the changes the last 3 days. Things like that has not changed. Yeah. And that's why it's still a great game.
It is. And I think, there has been a lot of change. Probably more change in the last 2 years than the last 25 combined. But to the core of it, I don't know how much players have changed.
Absolutely.
They still want to go practice. You give them structure and the way to go do it. And
no doubt.
It's the greatest opportunity in the sport world we have today.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple players in the quarterback room. This league, I believe, is the deepest it's ever been at that position. You've got a competition there. What must one of these young men do to win the job?
Yeah, I think you look at the quarterback position, and it's the most important position in all of sport. I believe that. And the best teams I've ever been a part of, they've all had a very efficient, really good player at that position. Now, we can't just put so much on them that it's just up to the quarterback. The surrounding cast has got to be really good too. We got to protect him up front. We got to be able to run the ball. And then we're going to design a number of quarterback run game and elements, because the skill set that we have in that room allows us to be able to do that. So the sooner that we can name a starter will probably be better for us, but I am not going to rush because of the calendar and say this is our guy. They're going to go earn it, and they will. We had great competition through spring ball. We had another addition after spring practice to the room. They've had a wonderful spring or summer camp, and now we'll get into fall camp and see where it goes.
And one of the guys in the quarterback room you do know very well.
I've known him since birth.
You've known him for as long as you could know a person, your son Garrett. Yeah. And I would, Coach, love to just get to know your family a little bit. I know you have an older son who's still at UNLV and a 9-year-old daughter. Yeah. I think family is such an important part of being able to do what you can do. And you've talked about your wife before and everything she brings to the mix and what your family means to you. Just what is it like being a dad and coaching these young men who are literally your son's ages?
Well, it's amazing. The game of football has given my wife and I so many things and the opportunities to try to play a small part in young men's life. And then when they leave our program, hopefully we've done enough as a family to change their outlook and to make our society a better place. But I've got an opportunity. I coached my oldest son here at UNLV, which was remarkable. I can't even put into words how fun it was. I never coached them when they were younger in Pee Wee ball because I always made an excuse that I was too busy. And then now to have the chance to do that now with both sons, it's something that I will carry with me forever.
Have you found a home yet?
We have.
Really?
Yeah, we've got a great spot, and it's close to the office. It'll be good for entertaining and hosting in the way that you need to. The Lafayette area, the greater Lafayette area, has been unbelievably warm and welcome and supportive of our family. We've always believed, wherever your feet are, be there. And just like we did here and the places before, invest in the community. They will give you everything back.
That's great.
Jerry's trying to get an invite if you didn't notice. It's not very subtle.
Hey,
yeah. We're going to let you go, but I just want you to, can you confirm one fact? Because there's a lot of stuff on the internet and you don't really know what's true and what's not true. But the favorite fact I found about Barry Odom was that you played your entire high school career with a torn ACL. And in fact, ran for 39 touchdowns your senior year. Are those facts?
Well, those are facts.
Okay.
I did. I tore my ACL my freshman year, so not my entire high school career, but the last 3 years I did. And it was a point in time years ago that, the surgery wasn't probably the right thing to do on the way that the injury was. I had enough muscle structure to be able to withstand what it needed to be. We had a great offensive line. That's the only reason I scored 39. I had 6 or 7 called back, so the number should be higher than that.
See, those are the facts that we need. We'll go back and make sure those articles are corrected. Barry Odom, looking forward to watching you rebuild this thing in West Lafayette. Thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Lots to celebrate there for Michigan State, and looking forward to another year for the Spartans as they look to improve on last season. You see Nick Marsh, Jordan Hall, Stanton, Ramil enjoying themselves here in Las Vegas. And here you see the schedule ahead for that group. It includes an opener against Western Michigan, the traditional Friday night opener for the Spartans. Boston College as well coming in the next week. That was a really competitive game a year ago. They opened conference play at USC, so coming back west in week 4. And we are joined now by Jordan Hall, Nick Marsh, Stanton Ramil. Guys, welcome. Great to have you with us. Welcome to Las Vegas. You having fun so far? How's it been?
Can't complain. It's been here just a short few hours, but I've had a fun time.
All right. What'd you do last night?
Nothing much. Just got dinner, some of the coaches and ADs, and went up to bed.
All right. Sounds wholesome. Year one with a new staff last year. What did you learn about yourselves? What did you learn about the program? Stanton, I'll start with you. I want to hear from all of you, though.
Yeah, just had the staff come in. We had to really pick up the playbook quick and just, saw the little bit of struggle with that. And, just coming into this year, seeing it click a little more in spring ball was a really cool thing to see.
In what ways have you seen it click more?
Just as far as the offensive line and how we picked up our, whether it's something as small as an aiming point or just who our assignment is and who the double teams are going to, just cleaning that up and having cleaner blocks or, just pointing to someone, and the wide receivers know that we're going to get him. They can go get up to the safety. Just small stuff like that is really cool to see.
How about for you last year, Nick? Obviously for you it's unusual because you didn't know the previous staff, right? This is the only staff that you've known. But just give me a sense of kind of what you guys learned about that group last year, both yourselves and the coaches.
I would piggyback off what Stan said. We didn't pay a lot of attention to the details in the playbook and our coach's vision. But, this year I think we're taking a bigger step as an offense and as a defense to, pay attention to those small details to, make plays be perfect. And, like he was saying, offensive line aiming points, the receivers, certain alignment, certain yard marks to break off at. I think it's the details that's going to make us different this year.
Jordan?
Yeah, kind of to piggyback off that for the defense, coming in with Coach Rossi, he's very detail-oriented in how he wants things to go. And that's something that is kind of hard to adjust to when you're learning things. You try to take little pieces and learn each practice and each week. But things build up, especially when things are so new. So it's definitely something that we worked on throughout the course of the season. But the way spring ball and fall camp are coming around, that's something that we think is one of our strong suits of how we're, as a defense, we're detail-oriented and how smart we are as a defense.
As you guys got to know Coach Smith, describe him as a coach.
I would say he's just a relaxed, chill kind of guy. He doesn't do much talking, but he gets his point across, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How does he get it across if he doesn't talk a whole lot?
Just how his posture and demeanor, because he doesn't. Because he doesn't.
What was that, Nick? I missed that.
This is how he gets his points across right here.
Is that one of his?
When his hands
habits?
come together.
Okay.
His hands come together. He gets to doing one of these.
Yeah.
He means business. Yeah. But
Okay.
He's very stern.
So you don't pay attention until the hands come together, and then you say, "Okay, this is important." That's his tell. Huh?
No, we pay attention. We pay attention all the time.
I'm putting words in your mouth.
Come on, slow down now.
So, because he comes across that way, comes across very low-key to us. And again, every coach has a different way of going about it. So what's it like to play for a coach who maybe isn't as vociferous as some others?
So really, my thought of it, I think he gives the other coaches, that authority of his position, and I think he lets them take course of the team. We have a few other coaches who acts like the head coach. I say like Coach KB for instance. He's the assistant head coach, and he takes that role very serious. And I think our other coaches, play a big part in what Coach Smith does in the program.
Sen?
Yeah, kind of like what Jordan said, he's a more reserved guy, more cool, calm, and collected. But, when he really wants to make that point, it's definitely made. And, he's definitely a brilliant football brain. Like every night before game day, we'll go over, certain positions in the game and like what we would do, and just like talking with other coaches, and they'll do that stuff for hours on a game week, and just hearing that, and then just talking to Coach Smith before the game, hearing his thoughts, hearing what he thinks is very important, just taking all that in. It's definitely very cool.
What do you guys see as kind of the vision here for Michigan State football? Again, this is a transient time in college sports. As we know, you had a chance kind of to go wherever you want to go. You do every single year. You guys have all chosen to be there, just like everyone here has chosen to be at their particular school. What's the vision that you've bought into? Where do you see this going? And Stan, we can start with you.
Yeah, for me, I came to Michigan State because it's tough, gritty football. We retain a lot of players. You don't really see that too often in college football right now, and just building that family in our team, it's just something amazing that not many other people have the opportunity to do. And just like I said, being that gritty football team, that's also another thing. We're not flashy. We run down your throat. We open up the pass game. We get it done. So.
Yeah. I think Nick's taking umbrage. He's got some flash going right now. Yeah.
So my thoughts on that, first year with the program, you got a new staff, a new team, pretty much new everything. So, the first year may have not been what we were looking for, but I think we're going to shock a lot of people with this second year of growth. We had a lot of time to, piggyback on our mistakes last year and piggyback on some of the things that we could have corrected then. And, I think we're paying more detail to that this year, and I think that's going to shock a lot of people.
Defense had a solid year last year. I know you must feel good about that. How do you build on that success this year, Jordan?
Yeah, we had a good year, but definitely a lot of things that we can work on defensively, whether that's schematic or technique or, just how we're getting to the ball. So definitely want to build on the positives from last year, but have the acknowledgement that that's not where we want to be, and sit down and talk about the steps to get to where we want to be and execute those things.
One of the things that needs to happen is generate more of a pass rush. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I think it starts with stopping the run and making the offense be in situations where they have to throw the ball and not be so one-dimensional, so where we can mix up some things, have different pictures for the quarterback, throw in some different disguises, but just to put them in more situations where it's an obvious passing situation.
A little bit of a challenging year offensively. I'm interested in hearing from both of you on where you think you guys have shown the most growth between when we last saw you at the end of last season and getting through spring ball.
I would say the most growth probably with the O-line. You know, they brought a lot more attention and detail into, you know, where they're blocking their aiming points. And then also we got a couple new transfers on the receiver side of things. So, you know, when it comes to, you know, our offense, I think we're going to be really explosive this year.
It's interesting to me, Stanton, and I know you can't speak to what's happened the last decade, but when Michigan State really had it rolling, the offensive line was fabulous.
Yeah.
And it feels like, as I kind of think about, okay, how do they get back to being who they were? And you were talking about the grittiness. That was what Mark D'Antonio's teams were all about.
Yeah.
And it was really encapsulated in that offensive line. So I know you've got some new faces. I know you feel like there's been some progress there, but kind of bring us up to date on that group and where you've seen the most growth.
Yeah. So this past spring we had one of the vets, you know, for one of those great teams, Brian Allen. He came in, you know,
good
Super
player.
Bowl champ, hell of a player. And he, you know, just being around him, you know, we'd watch film from the last season, you know, we'd see where our mistakes were, and, you know, watching it, we're like, how can we make that many mistakes and still rush like we did? You know, you watch some of our games, you watch all of our games, the way we opened up, you know, we had spurts. We can do that. Just being consistent throughout the thing, and like you said, being gritty, being dominant the whole time. You know, we want to see couches burned. Like, we want that. That's what we want.
Nick, this wide receiver group, some new faces that you talked about.
Yeah.
You were a huge revelation, I think, last year, and just had a tremendous first season. I know people are expecting huge things out of you, but tell us about some of the other targets who we ought to be looking out for.
So we got Amari Kelly, you know, Krishan McCray, Rod Bullard, and Evan Boyd. And I think they're, like, tremendous additions to our receiver room. Me, last year, I felt like, you know, once I got to a certain point in the season that I had a lot more, you know, attention on me. So I think, you know, having these guys in the room helps me out a bit and helps Aiden out a bit. He got, you know, a little more to look at and a little more to throw to.
You mentioned Aiden. Where have you seen the most growth in his game?
Just him going through his progressions, you know, him actually having that time in the pocket to read, you know, the progression 1 through 5. And, you know, he's been doing pretty good with, you know, just being on time and timing. And, you know, it's getting better and better each day.
Stan, how about from an offensive line point of view? Where have you seen the growth in Aiden Charles?
I'd say, you know, a lot of what Nick just said. His courage in the pocket, you know, his ability to just stay calm and collected, you know, not make a quick rash decision, just stuff like that. And then obviously, you know, knowing Aiden, just his ability to get out there in space and make a play. You know, he's been great at that. He gets even better as we go, and it's really cool.
Hey, Jordan, I want to ask you a little bit about your mom and her social media presence.
She's going to love this.
Yes, it is not unusual for a player to have a lot of social media presence, but your mom, Mama Hall to you.
That's her.
She is out there. She's like the team representative and cheerleader. And so what's it like to see her kind of building this following?
No, I love that woman, and you know, it's encouraging seeing how she approaches social media and how involved she is. It's a blessing to my life to have a mother that's so involved in, and not only just my career, but it seems like the whole program.
Well, that's what's really cool about it, right? It's not just about you. It's about everything Michigan State. Anytime there's anything positive to accentuate and point out, she's out there with it. Did she clear this with you? Did she say, hey, this is what I'm going to do? Or did she just kind of start doing it?
Nah, she kind of just picked it up and ran with it through high school recruiting. I've had to maybe tone this down a little bit here and there. But I kind of give her a free rein. I've given up, but I love it. So.
You guys follow her on social media?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Nick, what was it like for you to just kind of be thrust into the spotlight last year? I do think it's in college football, we tend to have players kind of play a little bit of a role as freshmen. It's exceptional players who become stars right away. You were kind of that exception last year. You were someone who was spotlighted almost from the get-go. You lived up to it. So what was that like for you to go into that role right away?
I mean, it was a bit stressful. It was, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, God put us in certain positions to, you know, thrive, and I think He put me in the best position to come out on top. And you know, I can be nothing but thankful for the opportunity, because when the opportunity came, you know, I opened the door, and you know, just having older guys teach me the ropes, and you know, just having people point me in the right direction is that's, one reason I'm here today.
So where's the growth this year? What can you do better or different?
I would say route running. I watch a lot of my film. I critique myself, and, I just look at a lot of things that I've done in the past. And, every day I'm at practice, I'm talking to coach, I'm talking to Aiden, I'm talking to the other receivers, and, I try to help them not, make some of the mistakes I made as a freshman and, just try to piggyback on, just being efficient and clean.
You mentioned mistakes. Like, what mistakes would you say you made?
So I would say, just as far as small details in route running, as far as not stemming at the corner, stemming at the safety, or either, telegraphing what I'm going to do. Certain stuff like that can go a long way, and you'd be surprised that, small details win games. And, that's what our coach preaches on, and that's what I try to, teach, some of my other teammates, and, that's what I try to work on every day in life.
Yeah, it's interesting. A big theme developing between you guys is attention to detail. It really seems like, I don't know whether that's a team talking point, but it's pretty obvious from speaking to each one of you. It's something you're focused on. I want to ask you a little bit about your family, Stanton. It's an interesting one. You have 3 sisters who play college basketball.
Yeah.
Your dad and your brother play college football.
Yep.
So I have to imagine it was fairly competitive in your house?
Oh, yeah. Super competitive.
Describe that world.
So, we had my 3 sisters. They all played Division I basketball, very high level. Me, my older brother, my little brother Peter, we'd always go to their AAU practices. We'd always, kind of be forced to rebound for them at home. So there's that. And then our dad was our high school coach for football. So there's that too, Someone who's played at a level like that, playing at Alabama when they were winning national championships, kind of gave us that respect towards his coaching ability, not only as a father but as a coach. And just like us being able to buy into that was really cool.
How's your basketball game? Do you go
horrible?
Really, you're not. So your sisters are really good basketball players, and you got.
No, I'm a hell of a rebounder.
I would think you'd be a good rebounder.
Yeah. I can get any board there, but
okay.
Otherwise,
the rest of it,
leaves
a little bit.
I got a little
desired, huh?
Got a little dream shake to me, but a little bit.
See, now it comes out, right? The modesty,
right?
Initially, but then I got a little bit of game. I'm going to leave you with this, Jordan. How do you define success for Michigan State this year? What does it look like?
Yeah, I think that there's 3 things I think as a team. I know defensively, but I think offense is kind of bought into that of having high execution, swarming to the ball, and just being productive in how we execute things. And I think at the end of the day, throughout each practice and each game, if we're able to do those things at a high level, the score should reflect that. And so that's how we realize success, is by ranking those 3 things. Did we accomplish this? If so, the scoreboard should replicate that.
All right. Good stuff. Jordan, Nick, Stanton, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your time in Vegas.
Thank you.
Best of luck this year. Here's what's ahead for Michigan State. They do have their quarterback, Aiden Childs, back from last year, a 5-7 season. We're active in the portal with 23 transfers coming in as Jonathan Smith begins year number 2 in East Lansing, and the Spartan coach is with us right now. Coach, great to have you. First of all, what are the biggest things you learned about your program, about your conference here in year 1?
Yeah, I think you learned a ton. I don't know about biggest, but depth matters in this league. You play 9 conference games, and the ability to play multiple guys, especially it's a physical game and all of that, and so that matters. And so you mentioned it already, and adding to the roster competition and that, learned a ton. I actually think too, I learned in the Big Ten schematically. I look at the coaching taking place. You're going to get exposed. You do something well, they're going to take that away. You got to be ready to adjust. And I was really impressed watching throughout the year the adjustments get made schematically.
We had a chance to talk here on one of our shows in the offseason, and we were discussing the line of scrimmage. And I know you felt like both lines of scrimmage last year were areas that you had to get better. We were just talking to Stanton, and I think he feels like there's a lot more depth there on the offensive line. Like, kind of bring us up to date, both lines of scrimmage, how you think you've evolved.
Yeah, I think we've addressed it in ways, starting with creating more competition in those rooms. Offensive line, Stanton himself mentioned it. 4 transfer portal O-linemen that arrived in January that have had snaps in college football, creating more competition in that room. Stanton, among others, returner starters that have played at the O-line position, sort of creating more competition. Got to get bigger, faster, and stronger. I think continuity in the scheme, right? The offense isn't dramatically changing, and so allowing those guys to grow into year 2 now, feel confident we're going to be better there.
I want to ask you about your quarterback, Coach, and I feel like last year was a double-edged sword. On one end with Aiden Childs, raw, talented, fearless. He's got a desire to make big plays, but it also got him in trouble at times with some of the mistakes. So how do you balance that? You want to protect that and keep that, but how do you balance also having him hone it in a little bit to bring back on some of the mistakes?
Yeah, that word balance is correct because he can create, he can make all the throws. He's competitive, right? So maybe it's not great first. I'm going to go extend this play, and so you like some of those attributes out of him. At the same time, not making a bad play worse. Sometimes, second down is okay or punting the ball is okay. I think through his experience of last year, he learned. You look at him statistically, games 1 through 6 versus 7 through 12, the stats are a whole lot better. In the back end, we want to stay on that trajectory and then do our part also. We talked about the line of scrimmage surrounding Aiden schematically, but also with personnel to get him the ball, other guys the ball. I think we've done that.
You talked about the line of scrimmage, particularly the offensive line. What are some of the things you've heard that the offensive line have been doing to bring that continuity together?
Those guys are getting together off the field. Jim Mahalchek, our offensive line coach, has been doing it at a high level for a long time. Him second year with those guys. I think that O-line group is great in regards to their competition. They understand that they're going to need 5 guys out there, but we want to play 8, 9 guys in a particular game if they earn that. And so all of that, being a great teammate in that room, pushing each other, understanding that we want to play at a high level with 5 guys.
And how about the backfield? Because you're replacing Lynch Adams and Nate Carter, some new faces there. Yep. How would you evaluate that position group?
I think we're talented but young, kind of unproven, right? Our 2 lead carriers from last year gone. Elijah comes in to a Tolliver that has played in college football and almost had 1,000 yards last year. He's the oldest one in the group. You look at the rest of them, they're in their first or second year of college football. So that's where I'm excited to see how that continues to play out in August with some young talent, the competition in that room, and finding 2 or 3 guys that feel great about.
Let's talk about your depth at the wide receiver position, which is obviously a position where you have to have some guys really produce. You have a big-time player without a doubt there, but as he continues to grow as a player, how about the rest of the room?
Yeah, Nick is a really good player. I appreciate the way he approaches it. He's always working on his craft, but he's also a great teammate, and he understands he wants to be playing next to guys that can take some of the load. He doesn't want to sit there and see a double team the whole time. So 6 new receivers that arrived in January to add to that room to complement. Amari Kelly had a big-time, spring for us. He's got proven snaps. Kershawn McCray, again, proven snaps at a previous place with a little bit of different skill set. And so we feel good that room, you're going to need more than just one guy, and we've got multiple guys we think can stretch the field.
Yeah, it's kind of doing the math there. We talked about Childs, his arm and potential. Nick Marsh, one of the more proven freshmen in the country. Jack Velling at tight end. And then you're talking about the new faces in the backfield. When I think Jonathan Smith, I think run the ball and play great defense. But it seems the receivers, quarterback, and tight end are more proven right now than the running back room. Do you anticipate any adjustment to your team's identity?
Yeah, I think early on you got to go with your strength, and we'll see what that is coming out of August camp, right? But I do think we have ability to stretch the field in the passing game, a returning quarterback with the tight end position being a huge factor in the passing game, and then growing the running back room. We want to have some balance offensively, but ultimately we're trying to score the most points in a particular game and whatever that takes.
Just talk a little bit about your defense and how they're going to really support this team this year.
Feel solid with our front 7. We've got some depth there. I think Jordan was up here. He had a great spring, did a lot of good things for us last season. But the inside linebacker room, not just only with Jordan, with Wayne, Darius Snow coming back, we feel like we got pretty steady inside. Malik Spencer, and Kai Martinez, and the back end safeties returning. So the middle of the defense, we feel really solid about.
I felt Joe Rossi is one of the more underrated defensive minds in all of college football, not just the Big Ten. What's it been like getting to work with him now going into year 2 and seeing him teach the defense?
Yeah, really impressive, to be honest with you. That's why I go back to this idea of continuity from year 1 to year 2. Watching Joe, along with that defensive staff, but obviously Joe's heading that up, implementing, finding ways to improve the way he teaches. Feel awesome that our defense, with his leadership, will take a step from year 1 to year 2.
Coach, let's go off the field a little bit and talk about support staff and just how crazy and where we are right now in college athletics. You talk about general managers here, player personnel over here. How does that affect the way you approach your organization?
Yeah, I think that role has become more and more important. And now I think about it this way: is you place value on players now. Back in the day, you got 85 scholarships. Each guy, well, he's a scholarship or he's not, everyone's about the same, 85. Well, now, no, that's different. You're placing value. And so for having a general manager and really a personnel department to have a third opinion on the value of that player, I think it's vitally important.
I can't help myself, Coach. I got to go back to the quarterback once again. John Boyer, your quarterback coach, right? And he's been with you since Oregon State, with Childs, too, for his whole career. What is it about him that you trust so much, and what does he bring to the table for Childs?
Yeah, John's really an expert at that position. Watching him operate for 5 years with us at Oregon State, knows that thing inside and out. I think he's a compliment to, has been a coordinator before, had a previous relationship with Aiden. I think that was huge and value for Aiden to come in. Allows now Brian Linger, an offensive coordinator, to be able to maybe a little bit holistic approach with it. He's still with the quarterbacks quite a bit, but the relationship with John and Aiden, I think that allows now John to drill down on exactly, not just Aiden, the entire quarterback room, what they need to work on.
How important from a mental aspect was your approach with Aiden last year? As you discussed, I can remember saying, hey, he's going to struggle. You knew he'd struggle at different times, but you were going to stay with him. He wasn't going to have a short leash.
Yeah, I think it just continued conversation, that we had confidence in him, understanding that things weren't all going to be easy. He did some really good things. We had opportunities early in the season to, one player not, and it's not just all on him. I think he appreciates, too, our commitment to improving around him. We got to continue to improve around him, and feel awesome that we've gotten better, and anxious to see it this fall.
I had a love-hate relationship playing against Michigan State in my career. I loved it because of the rivalry, the intensity. You knew you had to be at your best, but I also hated it because there was a physical brand of football that you could expect every time the Spartans took the field. Just from a team identity standpoint, where do you feel your team's at to where you ultimately want it to be?
We're getting closer. We want to make the thing physical on both sides of the ball. We want to have that type of brand of physicality and the effort that we play with, and I think we've grown to play at a higher level this next year, and feel confident that if we can play with that type of other physicality, clean up some things, we can run off a lot of wins.
Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about the schedule. The Maryland game being moved to Detroit. What's the logic behind that, and what can that do for your program?
Yeah, it's a couple of years ago, Michigan State went over there and played a game in Detroit, and it turned out it was a positive experience, sound like, for everyone, fan base, that location turns into a great kind of football weekend around there with the Lions got the home game. We got to play. High school championships are going on. It's a holiday weekend, and so even for our home fan base, students are gone. It made a lot of sense, and all that played into something that we're going to do.
You got a challenging conference schedule. How important is it to get off to a good start?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. You want to start fast. We start with 2 road games, right? Our first one in the Coliseum out in the West Coast, and then go travel to Nebraska. And so that's what we signed up for. We're excited about playing in what I think is the best conference in America. Nothing's given. You got to go earn it, and we're excited about that challenge.
Jonathan Smith, head coach of Michigan State. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Coach. Looking forward to seeing the Spartans in camp towards the tail end of our camp tour.
Some of the more memorable moments last year for the Michigan Wolverines as we look at what's ahead for Team 146, second season under Sherrone Moore. Huge SEC road game in Norman in week 2, and as far as the conference slate goes, the Wolverines will miss Penn State, Oregon, Illinois in the regular season. Of course, November 29 is the day circled on everybody's calendar. Michigan will try and win its 5th straight over Ohio State. They haven't done that since the 1920s. It has been a minute. Max Bredeson, Ernest Hausmann, and Derrick Moore joining us on set here in Las Vegas. Gentlemen, it's great to see you. Welcome to Vegas. Max, I should start with you since you're the media day vet. You were here last year. You did so well. They brought you back. How's this experience compared to last year?
It's been cool. Vegas is a little different, but we've had so much fun so far, and it's been a cool trip so far.
I heard you guys didn't get the best meal last night, though. Is that possible in Vegas?
That was you.
Well, I ended up getting Raising Cane's.
Okay, all right. That's not bad. Okay, let's talk about it. We just saw some of the highlights from last year, and I think about it as a whole, 8 wins. It wasn't exactly where you wanted, but the way that you finished and the way that you beat Ohio State and then Alabama in the bowl game, and Derrick, you played terrific in that game. How do you look back on last season?
Looking back on last season, I feel like that's going to give us, that right there is just pretty much going to give us a lot of momentum going into this year. I feel like when it came to like them last 2 games, a lot of people doubted us. But I feel like the doubt is still there, going into this year because a lot of people who we lost or who we don't have. But I pretty much love the guys who we rocking and rolling with, and I feel like it's a hungry team this year, and we could pretty much just going to dominate anybody who come across us.
Love that answer. And I know you've said that last year was a lesson. So what was the lesson?
I feel like the lesson for us, I really would say like we wasn't too much of a team yet. I feel like we ain't had that team chemistry yet. We really ain't know our identity yet. But now I feel like it's there now. I feel like Coach Moore and the rest of the staff did a good job of pretty much helping us find out our identity and always putting the team first.
It is a process, I think, and every year when you start the season, you're never the same team as you are at the end of the year. Ernest, for you, I think about you coming over to Ann Arbor from Nebraska, and you had to ingratiate yourself to this team. What does it look like on the inside of the locker room? What are some of the things that you've done as a leader of this team to try to make those connections and that chemistry?
Yeah, for myself, I look at it as about just your daily habits. Like those are the daily habits that you have each and every day, or what's going to be shown on Saturdays. And so any way that we can, as leaders, inject that into our own teammates, into the whole team, I think it's going to pay dividends to us on Saturdays. It's
hard to know what it's going to look like until you actually get out there and play on Saturdays. But for you, you've played in a lot of games in that uniform. You've been here a long time, a leader of this group. What is your sense of what Team 146 is going to look like?
Yeah, definitely an excited team. Excited team that a lot of guys that want to prove themselves right. We're not just looking to prove people wrong. And there's no greater motivation than when you've had something and you can't have it anymore. So we're going to go back and go get that again.
43 games is how many you've played in. You voted Michigan's toughest player last year. You could have gone to I know that's got to feel good, right? I mean, I don't know if that jags the guys at the end of the set here.
I didn't know it was that many.
Yeah. You could have gone to the NFL. Mm-hmm. Why did you decide to come back?
I love Michigan with everything I have. I'd play 10 years here if they'd let me. Part of it is you don't want to be the captain that went 8-5, and I love this place too much to leave it like that.
I don't think people fully appreciate the fullback position. I think when you play tight end and fullback, and especially with the new offensive coordinator and Chip Lindsey, a lot of people are excited to see what that might look like from your perspective.
Yeah.
What have you seen so far?
It's been great so far with Coach Lindsey. It's still Michigan football. Michigan football will always be represented by that block M, physicality, violence to the point of attack. But Coach Lindsey's done a great job bringing in some of that extra flair, some fun down the field, and we got guys who are ready to go do that.
What do you think people misunderstand about the position you play?
It's pretty well understood. It's as violent as you can get. So it's a well understood position, but one I take a lot of pride in.
Versatile and violent, I think, are the two words that you have used. Would you guys agree that those are two good words to describe this guy?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think there's something interesting there's so much about the offense and the defense, and you guys get to go against each other, obviously, in camp and every day in practice. Iron sharpens iron. Tell me what you have seen from this offense so far, and there's a guy named Bryce I think people are pretty excited about.
Yeah, Bryce is as good as advertised. The thing I'm most impressed about Bryce is his maturity. You would never tell how old he is when he first came in that locker room. Just the way he conducts his business, he just fits right well with that quarterback room. They're just a bunch of hard workers. They do things behind the scenes that nobody sees, that nobody knows about. And to join that room, we're very excited to have him part of the football team. I'm excited to see move forward.
Derrick, I know that you have a good perspective, and Wink Martindale talked about you had a lot of almost sacks last year. You affect the quarterback, you do a lot of different things. What's your perspective on Bryce?
My perspective on Bryce, same thing, really mature. When you look at him, he don't look like an average 17-year-old or an average freshman. Just the way he carries himself and the way that he take care of his body. Just watching him, like, pre-practice wise, he out there 20-30 minutes before by himself going over the script, and also like he's one of the first guys and one of the last guys that sometimes I see always in a facility just trying to find a way to get better, and that's what I like about him.
I think so much too when you talk about pressure and what it means to come in and be a guy like him. You guys all feel it, right? There's a lot of pressure to play the position, to play at a place like the University of Michigan. How do you talk to each other? How do you handle it? Are there different things that you do when you think about how pressure shows up for a team?
Yeah, there's definitely different ways to go about it. But if you were when you're in high school or your younger self when you're playing football, you'd want the lights to be as bright as they could be. So we embrace that. We wish they were even brighter. So everyone's got their own way of going about it, but the Michigan method is we just line up the ball, 11 on 11, let's go play football.
Yeah, we love pressure because when you have pressure, something is expected out of you, and we love that and we embrace that. We know playing at Michigan, representing that block M, there's an expectation, there's a standard, and we have to do that to uphold that each and every day. But that doesn't happen unless we come in that facility with a purpose and attention for what we want to do each day.
For me, I feel like when you under pressure, that really shows you like what type of person you are, and if you are able to overcome that, you pretty much able to overcome anything in life. So I feel like I pretty much always in life always been like under pressure. But for this team, it's going to be times where we're going to be like facing adversity, but I feel like we're going to be able to get through it, and that's going to help us build as a team.
You think about adversity, and you guys went through some adversity last year, and then the way that it ended. I know you've been asked about that Ohio State game a lot. I know you're looking forward and not in the rearview mirror, but going in, I don't know that there were many people outside the guys in your locker room that thought that you actually were going to win that game. What did that mean to you? And of all the games that you've played, I mean, where does that one rank?
Yeah, that one's ranked pretty high. I mean, that's the game. That's why you come to Michigan. So that one means a lot. And the guys in the locker room, there's the clip of us walking out, and it's just us versus Sea Red. And we love it. We love our Michigan faithful who are all there. But there's almost like a feeling like, wish there was less. Like, wish it was just our guys in the field. And it was an unreal feeling because you just feel throughout the whole week of this is just us. Like, let's go there. Let's get the job done.
I'm sure it's fun walking around campus after a game like that, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Sherrone Moore, did he show you guys a clip of a Scarface? Did I see that?
Scarface?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I don't think I've seen that.
All right, well, we'll have to ask him about that when he joins us on set a little bit later. Sherrone Moore, he's been with the program since 2018. Obviously, you guys have known him well for a long time, but to be in his first position as the head coach and really taking over this program, he's talked about all the different things that he has learned from year one to year two. From a player perspective, what stands out to you?
I think the number one thing that stands out with me with Coach Moore is how he cares about his players. He just loves truly his players. That just goes from, he'll call you, when you're not in the facility, and he takes time to sit with you in comments, eat lunch with you. He understands that. He has a high passion. He loves football, and he's coached hard. He has a very high standard for us as players and the staff. But the only way he can get to us is understanding that he has to spend time with us outside of football and to understand and to develop the relationships that he has with us so he can be hard on us. We all know it all comes from a place of love. And he's done a great job of that. And I know that's why he has success in the recruiting process right now as well, because people understand that he's more than just a coach. He loves you as a player as well, as a person.
And I think that's, as a player, what you want as much as anything, right? Because you can play really hard for somebody who loves you and cares about you. Ernest, your path and your story is so interesting, and I know some people know it, but maybe not everybody. So walk us through your path to how you got here. How would you describe it? And back to your roots this summer.
Yeah. My path, my life has been nothing but a blessing. Truly been a blessing. Everything that's been happening in my life has been nothing short of not a coincidence. It's all for a reason. It's been purpose. And God has done all those things and blessed me so beyond. I even so thankful. And, being adopted, being born in Uganda, Africa, and I was adopted to America at the age of 5. So blessed with the family I have in America. I wouldn't be here without them. They supported me beyond tremendously. And, things obviously diversity, right? Because with adoption, the special things about adoption, from one side of the family, right, it's the best day of their life, right? And the one side of things for myself, right, or the adopted child, it can be one of the worst days of their life, right? And for myself, it took time, but understanding that God had that be for a reason, and it just gives you more motivation each and every day to live your life, because it's not just about myself. It's bigger than just myself. It's bigger than just even the Michigan program. There's people counting on me on a bigger level, global scale, that I need to get my job done each day. So I just use that each day to live my life, to have that be in the back of my mind each day.
It's a beautiful perspective, and we did just see some of the pictures from the trip that you took this summer, back in the spring, to Uganda. You went twice, and it was the first time you'd been back in 16 years?
Yeah, the first time was spring break, March 1st. I went there with my godfather, Mike Owens, and he's a board member of the Foundation 1 Million Wells. And that picture right there, that was the second time I went, and I drilled the well for my family in my village in Ivukala. You see that's just a bunch of kids and people just seeing the machine, and they see the whole machine around the city. They all come and gather to see what's going on. And there's my godfather, Mike Owens, right there drilling. It's one of those things where you really just change your perspective on life. We're here in America, we're so blessed, so fortunate to have easy access to things that we want. We go to the store to go get them, where in many other parts of the world, they can get that easy access. And to just be able to make an impact on lives on others, I feel like that's what life's all about.
I love that perspective, and I do think it's, what's great about a locker room, right, is that you get to learn the stories of these other guys and these brothers. Derrick, for you, I believe that you hosted a youth camp at your hometown in Baltimore recently.
Yes.
How did that come together? Why was it important?
I feel like it was a pretty good turnout, especially for my first camp. I believe it was like 300 kids that signed up. That's what I believe, so I can't remember. And why I wanted to do that, I really wanted to show a way to the youth back home in Baltimore that is a way, and it's also a lifestyle, outside of Baltimore. I feel like a lot of kids in Baltimore, they get caught up in so much of like the street lifestyle and pretty much, always get trapped into it. And sometimes they ain't got no mentor or anything like that to like help them, get out of that. So I try to just, show them it was a kid at one point in time who was also in the same shoes as them, but kind of just blocked out all the outside noise, and really just had one goal, and that goal is pretty much taking care of my mom. And now I'm on a path to do that, and that's all I really want to do, just show them a way. And going forward, I would like to keep that going on, and also continue to do the best as I can for my community.
This is why I love media days, and I'm not joking. I think it's awesome to be able to talk to you guys about this stuff and some of the stuff that's really important away from the game. And I think about just what a 10-year-old Derrick Moore would be like showing up to that camp. I'm sure you'd have a few helpful hints for him as well. Before we let you go and get on with the rest of your day, all three of you guys are known for your toughness, your energy, your leadership. I want to ask you what you admire specifically about the two guys sitting next to you.
I could talk about these guys for hours. To start with Derrick. Like a quiet, stable presence in the locker room. Like, everyone knows what D Moore is about. Like, the right guy for the job. Anyone can lean on Derrick for whether that be to play or to talk to. Like, that guy's a real warrior. I can say the same thing about being a warrior to earn. Like, a guy who you get to see all the stuff about him and what he's done. Like, the guy's just quiet about his work. Doesn't need to tell everyone about what he's done. He's just a worker. A guy who just cares about the right things, does everything right, and just doesn't do it for him. He does it for the people around him. That's what really makes him so special. But both these guys are unbelievable football players, and everyone loves their teammates, but the way they love their teammates back is what makes these two so special.
I mean, we should have had Max go last because that was really good. I don't know how you guys are going to follow that up. Go ahead and try, Ernest.
Oh, thank you, Max. For Max, man, I remember my first day. When I came to the University of Michigan from Nebraska, and I remember Max specifically. The thing about Max is his passion, his drive. You can see on his face, you can see it when he walks to the facility, and the energy and how he just plays the game of football. He loves the game, and the way like iron sharpens iron. And me and him, we go at it a lot and practice a lot, and we just know it just makes us better. There's no hatred, there's no bad blood within it. It's all love, and we love it, and that's what I love about that about Max. Derrick, a lot of times, he's looking back for the call each play, but he's someone that he's such a reliable, such a trusted guy. He doesn't say much, but all he does is look. I look at him, he looks at me, and I just know he's gonna get the job done. He's gonna know his assignment and do his job. And then beyond that, in the locker room, his presence on the team, everybody knows that you can look at D Moore, you know he's gonna get the job done. And that's the thing about these two players. They're just beyond. I don't think they understand the benefit that they have to the whole team, because for myself, being from the portal, come from a different team. You really see that these two players are here are super special. And I'm so fortunate and blessed to have them be a part of my team.
All right, Derrick, I'm going to let you out of this because we've only got about 10 seconds, so in the best you can about these guys, and then you can go continue it offset.
I can keep it nice and short. When you think about both of these guys, first thing that come to mind is dog. Both of them dogs. And really, when you think about the University of Michigan and like the football program, these guys are the standard. Brady been here for a long time. He know what the standard is. So I look up to him also as a leader from my perspective, and just learn a lot from him, and just try to soak in every much information or action I can, to help challenge myself as a leader, and help better myself. And then Ernest, that's my linebacker, so he just brings the energy, and also, the way that he carries himself in a good way. And also, he a caring person. He love to give back to others, and that's all I really got to say,
Well, clearly all three of you are terrific representations of what it means to be a University of Michigan football player. Thank you for spending the time. Thank you for giving each other your flowers and humoring me. I very much appreciate that, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Back here in Las Vegas as we take a look at the season outlook for the USC Trojans heading into year 4 under Lincoln Riley. He promoted Luke Heward to OC. He brings in veteran NFL coach Rob Ryan to join the staff as assistant head coach on defense. Plenty of new pieces, but of course a couple of key returners, including 3 guys who are here today: Elijah Paige, Kamari, Ramsey, and Makai Lemon. 3 absolute studs. Some good memories from the last 2 trips to this city. A couple of thrilling wins across the street at Allegiant Stadium. You beat LSU in your opener, and then of course you go out and beat Texas A&M in a thriller in the bowl game. So welcome back to Vegas, Lincoln Riley.
Good luck.
Yeah, not that many people win in Vegas if you come twice, 3 times. So
exactly
it's great to see you. How's the day been so far?
Day's been good. Fun to get out here, represent our program. Brought 3 great players with us. A lot of excitement. Coach, it's the best time of the year.
Coach, there's a lot of coaches that came here that are jealous that you could do this in one day.
I'm going to do everything I can to advocate that we keep this in Las Vegas.
You do have the shortest commute, certainly, of any of the 18 teams, along with UCLA coming to Vegas. And Coach, I just think back on year 3, and you've talked a lot about how when you're building something that you take a step back, and it's hard when you start climbing, but you have more perspective and appreciation for the grind. So as you look back at last season and some of the challenges, and then obviously it ended well, what do you take away? What's your biggest takeaway from last year?
Well, I think first it's never easy when you don't finish some games that you feel like you worked hard to put yourself in position to win. And we're so used to winning that that's not an easy pill to swallow. The flip side of it is I watched the way that our team played. I watched us play one of the most difficult schedules in the country and have a chance to win every single game. And I see absolute progress in so many areas of our program. And I know from experience and being around some of the great coaches and teams and players and programs that I've been lucky enough to be a part of, I know that we are headed towards being what we want to be. Like I just know it. And eventually that will show up in wins and losses. It always does. And so I think it's keeping perspective. And I think that's been, I think, the important thing for us. And then I think you see all the signs of the belief and the excitement that is around USC football right now. The staff that we just hired, you mentioned Rob Ryan, we brought in Chad Bowden as our GM, and we've made several other really key staff hires that have been very important for us. The way that we're recruiting right now, we've got the #1 ranked recruiting class in the country for 2026. We're getting ready to move into what will be one of the best college football facilities in the country here in a handful of months. So there's just too many good things happening, and you just got to keep building on it.
I mean, when you think about the things that you are going to build on, can you tell us about the facility? Because I feel like this is something that we've seen coming together over the last few years as we visited campus, but the renderings look incredible.
Yeah, it was part of the agreement when we came here. We knew that I wanted it was a little bit of a way for me to test how serious that USC was about being really great at football again, and I give our administration, our supporters credit. They have not blinked an eye on it. It's not easy to find space to just build a new structure right in the middle of Los Angeles, as I found. And we got creative, and we moved the baseball field. We built our baseball team a brand new stadium, and then this practice facility is going to be incredible. I mean, it really is. To honor the history of this program, to be functional for our players and staff, what we can do from a recovery and technology in this day and age, and being able to build all that in, like it's really going to be special and a game changer. We're already feeling the effects of it because everybody sees it when they come on campus, and I think it's just a representative of how serious USC is about being really great on the football field again.
Coach, compare the overall talent of this team to last year's team.
This is a more talented team. The 2 areas I'd really point at, the defensive line, certainly, and that was probably the defensive line was the #1 target for us. We made a big jump defensively. We were one of the most improved defenses in the country. And after the year, we sat down and said, all right, how do we go from being just the most improved to being flat out one of the best defenses in the country? And that was the answer. We had to get bigger in the interior. We had to get more depth and be better in our 4-man pass rushes. And we feel like we have the group to do that now. So I'm really excited about that. And then I would say also on the flip side, the growth and the depth on the offensive line as well is just different than it's been at any point during our time here at USC.
When you started off your remarks today, you referenced Coach Carroll, one of the all-time greats, and an urge for him to get in the College Football Hall of Fame. He used to always say there's a difference between hoping and knowing. Good teams hope they can win. Great teams know they can win. You referenced that. You said, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. You brought in a new strength coach. What are elements in this offseason that make you double down on that? Like, I know it is coming based on what maybe you've gleaned from Coach Carroll in the weight room.
Well, I think it's just I think that position has such a big impact on your team, right? And you can get the roster right and do great things schematically and all that, but there does have to be a belief that you are going to finish and that you are going to prevail no matter how these games unfold. And the great teams and great programs have that, and it's not easily developed. When you got it, it's not easily held on to. It's a special thing, and I've seen that and been a part of that. And so I think, Coach Carroll was somebody that we felt like could help not only in the way we train, but just the mentality of our team and being able to finish these games, and not just finish in the fourth quarter. We had plenty of opportunities to finish games in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, multiple times where maybe a game doesn't come down to one play or one call right at the end. And so that has been a target for our team, and our players have really embraced that.
Coach, you and Jed Fish, I believe, are the only two head coaches that are also calling the plays on Saturday. With all that's going on, especially nowadays, more is on a head coach than ever before. How do you make it? How do you make time? How do you budget your day?
The first few years here have been tough as you're building a program and then adjusting to all that's changing in college football. And that was a big reason we wanted to really invest as a university, as an athletic department in our front office staff. Our GM search to land on Chad Bowden took 9 months. That wasn't the intent, but we knew how important it was to get the right person and then build a great team around him, which we've been able to do. And I think that's freed up not only myself, but a lot of our other coaches to really just coach and to really invest in the development of our current team and put a lot of our time and attention into that more than we were able to do previously. And so I think it's been a challenge at times here in the first few years. I would say in the last 4 to 5 months, I've probably coached more than I have in a long time, which is a good feeling. And I think the way we've outfitted and equipped this staff, I think is going to allow me to do that because, I do, at the end of the day, I think it's every coach's job to figure out where they can bring value to a program. And I think that's an area where I can help us win, and I want to be able to do that.
It's almost like the NFL model. Now that you've said that, right?
Yes.
That you have the support staff. Without that support staff, maybe you couldn't call a place on Saturday. But with this front office now, unlimited coaches, maybe it's changed the head coaches.
Correct. And I'm lucky to be at a place with an AD and Jen Koen that believe in that and see that and have given us what we need to build that around us so that we can do what we do best.
That's great.
I've always felt at USC at quarterback, when you sign, you're a household name. When you start, you're a Heisman candidate. When you start for you're a Heisman candidate as well. Iamaleava, what have you gleaned from him since that game against Nebraska, where he admitted he struggled flushing plays, to the game here in Vegas, you referenced at A&M, where he did that and balled out, and now he's truly entrenched as your guy?
Yeah, I think he's always had an ability to overcome. Like even in the Nebraska game, I know he was disappointed with a few of the decisions, but he still came back and played well and led us to win. He did the same thing against A&M. He did the same thing against UCLA. I mean, he probably played his best game against Notre Dame, against a really good defensive football team. So I've been really impressed with this guy. I mean, the plays that he made, the situation he came in, the guts and moxie that he showed, the things that he needs to fix are correctable. And it's just part of being a young or kind of new quarterback in a system. And I think everybody's going to see a much different player this year, and I'm very excited about it.
He also has a lot of phenomenal pieces around him. One of them you brought here today in Makai Lemon. I think that he's one of the truly special wideouts and somebody who's humble and doesn't like to give himself too many compliments and won't really want to take them. So I'm going to let you give him some flowers. What makes him such a special player? You've been around a lot of special guys.
Yeah, I would say his competitiveness and his versatility. He is such a versatile player. I mean, he was our best slot receiver. He was our best kickoff returner. He was one of our best gunners on the punt team. He's one of our best jammers on punt return. The guy can just do it all. And so he just does so many things that make a difference in winning. He really does, and he's serious about his craft. He knows he can get a lot better, and it's fun working with a guy like that. I mean, it's pretty cool for me here today. I first started recruiting Makai when he was a sophomore in high school, when I was at Oklahoma a long time ago, and to see how he's evolved, and even to be here today for kind of a humble, quiet kid, it's his evolution it's kind of a proud moment.
Coach, of all the changes in college football, which one do you like the most?
Like the most?
Yeah.
I was hoping I would say that we just went to the automatic qualifying playoff. Maybe not quite yet. Honestly, I mean, I'm happy that we're paying the players.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Right. Absolutely.
That should have happened a long time ago.
Yep.
We could all argue it maybe could have been done in better circumstances, or maybe with a little bit more of a system around it. But nonetheless, like, that should have happened a long time ago, and it's great to see that guys have the ability to be compensated now.
And Coach, we're gonna let you go on this because your players are standing by. We're gonna talk about them, but just real quick, the automatic qualifiers, because you stood up there and you made a really good point that I think hasn't been made enough. Why is it important?
Well, it's important for a lot of reasons, but I think if we want to preserve these different rivalry games and some of these different traditions that have happened in college football as these conferences evolve, that's the only way it's going to happen. Like, these games are going to continue to get picked off because you're putting people in impossible positions where do you decide, do I keep history, or do maybe I put my team from a playoff perspective at a competitive disadvantage? That's not a fun position to be in because where's the right answer, And so I think if we could do that, then that's going to allow these leagues to do what they want and still have some of the individual preferences and all of that. We can still play the marquee out-of-conference games that everybody loves to watch, and then let's go have a great playoffs after that. I think it's a no-brainer.
It would help you with the Notre Dame situation.
For sure it would. Of course it would. And it would help a lot of other schools with those too, because we've already lost some great rivalries to this, and we're going to lose more unless we do something about it.
And that is one of the many things that makes college football so special are those rivalries. Lincoln Riley, it's great to visit with you. Thanks for stopping by, spending some time, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day trip here to Las Vegas.
Thank you, guys.
Well, the final afternoon of Big Ten Media Days is rolling along. USC, they are here in style. As always, three leaders: Makai, Lemon, one of the best slot receivers in America; Elijah Paige, the anchor on that O-line; and Kamari, Ramsey, the hard-hitting safety, who is also a coach on the field. You take a look at what's coming USC's way in 2025. They open up against Missouri State, a team that won 10 games last year. Tough trip to Champaign to close out September, and then that 3-game stretch, so critical: Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oregon, and then, of course, everything's capped by that crosstown rivalry game November 29th. Makai, Elijah, Kamari, welcome to the set. Welcome to Vegas. Just a short day trip for you guys. You guys all look really good. I did have a mole tell me that you went shopping together. Can you confirm that that's the case?
Yes, we did.
Yes, you did. Well, you all did very well. How did these all come together? Like, did you decide together what you were going to go with?
Yeah, basically I wanted to go like a more charcoal kind of grayish color, and I feel like the white was the most appropriate.
It's sharp. It's sharp. Were you guys all hyping each other up?
Yeah, we were for sure.
I love it. Well, I think there's many ways for teams to come together, and some of the stuff that happens in the locker room, on the field, of course, can't be matched by the stuff that happens off the field. So as you guys put together this team, as three of the leaders on this squad, Kamari, I'll start with you. What have you seen in the offseason that leads you to believe that this is going to be an elevation from last year?
I think it started with us coming together, like being closer together as a team, getting to know each other off the field. Outside of the building, that's the main thing. Just becoming together as one, getting to really know people outside of football. I think that's the biggest thing, and I'm excited to see us grow from that.
Yeah, connection doesn't happen by accident, right? You have to put work into it. So what are some of those things that you guys have done in the offseason to spend some time together?
I think it's just really just hanging out. People getting on the grill. I know I can't cook, so really just coming to eat with them and just chill with them and just talk about life, talk about anything other than football, because our lives is football. So it's good to get outside the building and talk about other things and get to know people for real.
Elijah, you can grill. You can cook?
Yeah, I can for sure.
Yeah, you have a background.
Yeah, I do. I worked in a butcher shop my time growing up, from probably 14, 15 to the time I left for college, so yeah.
What did you learn there?
I learned a ton. I definitely learned hard work. That was kind of the main lesson I took from that. But really, it was just great. I made some great relationships while working there and talked to a lot of great people, so it was awesome.
I love that. All right. Makai, we just had Lincoln Riley on, and he was talking about how competitive and versatile you are, and that he can put you in so many different places and you can do so many different things. I know you are as humble as they come, and if I try to get you to give yourself compliments, you're not going to do that, so I won't try. Instead, I will ask you, where have you worked to improve your game the most?
I think more just, in the film room, kind of just knowing the mental aspect of the game, trying to see what the defense is going to do before they do it, just trying to get that step ahead, trying to, always work on my speed, my strength like that, but mainly just the mental aspect of the game.
How has your relationship with Jaden evolved?
Yeah, it's been evolved tremendously, just hanging around him on and off the field, just trying to build that bond so when we step on the field, it's just lights out.
Elijah, we know it all starts up front. That's the most critical component to any football team is what happens in the trenches because everything kind of goes from there. From your perspective, where is this offense compared to where it was a year ago?
Yeah, I think we're a lot closer, like Kamari touched on a little bit. I think that obviously the stuff on the field is going to speak for itself, but what doesn't is the stuff that nobody sees, the time spent together, the barbecues that we talked about. I think little stuff like that is going to help us a lot come fall, so I'm super excited for that.
Kamari, I think about how talented you are, the fact that you could have gone to the NFL last year and instead you come back as one of the top safeties in the country. What were the considerations when you looked around, and why ultimately did you decide to come back?
Really, it just came down to thankful for my parents, great support system, just talking with them, talking with the coaches, Coach Lynn, Coach Riley, Coach Belt. And the best decision for me was to come back. I felt like I had some unfinished business, some more things I wanted to put on tape, and I'm excited to play next year.
It was incredible to see when Danton Lynn and you come over with him from UCLA and what you guys were able to do to really turn the page. I mean, night and day on the defensive side of the ball. But you mentioned your parents. We are all a product of our environment. And you wrote a great article that I recommend that people go read. You find it online. It's called Tough as a Mother. And it talks about your upbringing and all the things that your parents and your mom in particular sacrificed to be able to get you where you are. So what would you share about your parents and your upbringing and how it's helped you be sitting right here today?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be right here without them. Nicole Ramsey and Stacey Ramsey. That's my backbone. That's everything. They mean a lot. They just been there, ups and downs, been through it all. So I'm just so grateful to have them in my life, and they do everything. And I am who I am because of them.
Youngest of 5 siblings?
Youngest of 2.
Youngest of 2.
Three.
Youngest
I'm the
of
third.
3.
I'm the youngest.
Okay, all right. So you're the baby, but you don't. Yeah, you don't play like that. That's for sure. I can tell you that. When you think about what's ahead for the defense side of ball this season, and I think every year you want to take new steps. And last year was all about people understanding Coach Lynn's system, which I know he talked about how huge it was for you to be sort of a coach on the field. What were you able to do coming in and knowing what he was looking for and helping the guys around you get to where they need to be?
Yeah, as a base level, it was just to get everybody caught up. I mean, the first thing you got to do is get them playbook. That's the main thing. Even me, just making sure I know what I'm doing too. Just because I've been in it for a year or two doesn't mean I can't continue to work on things and know it like the back of my hand. So that was the main thing. Just helping other people kept me sharp and kept me on my toes. Make sure I know what I'm talking about because I don't want to tell somebody the wrong thing. So never want to do that. So that's the main thing was just getting in the playbook, helping people learn the playbook, and being comfortable playing fast and just not so much thinking so they can play confident.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It feels like when you can really play fast, that is when you play confident. And what I know what you guys love about football. It's what I love about football. It is the ultimate team sport, right? There are so many things that have to work together. The run game at USC is something that I know everybody is excited and wants to continue. Woody Marks leaves, but you've got a trio of backs in that running back room that are phenomenal. Talk to us about that group.
Yeah, 100%. That group is definitely very important to our offense. Just to have them guys back there, it feels good. Kind of leaves the pressure off the receivers, but just truly excited to see them what they do this year. They got some good talent back there.
I think about you and Jacoby Lane, and it feels almost unfair that there could be a duo like that. I'd be remiss to think of another duo that's better in the country. What is it about having him and playing with him that you guys learn from each other, play off each other? What's it like?
Yeah, Jacoby Lane is super special. He does amazing things on the field. He's a great person off the field. So, just to have him on the field, just gives me that extra boost and confidence, to play. So, every time we step on the field, it's just like, just trying to take advantage of every opportunity because, every time the ball, is in the air, got to have the mindset of that's my ball. So, yeah.
Confidence is the whole thing, I think.
100%.
That's the difference between good teams and good players and great players. Elijah, it takes a lot of confidence to play the position you play. Where does it come from for you?
Yeah, it just comes from preparation. I know that Coach Riley and Coach Hansen, they're going to put me in the best situation to succeed on Saturdays. They're going to take me through every blitz look, everything that I could possibly see on Saturday. They're going to take me through it Monday through Friday. So that confidence just comes from preparation.
What is it like on game day? I think there's so many things. Fans show up and they, get treated to what is the experience of going to the Coliseum, watching their favorite team. But I think that people don't really understand, maybe from a preparation standpoint, what takes the lead into that. But game day at the Coliseum, what is it like, Kamari?
I mean, it's special. I mean, walking down that tunnel, running up the tunnel, it's just like a lot of the great players before you, a lot of great players going to be after you. So it's a blessing and it's an honor to be able to come through that tunnel and go in that locker room and be able to put on that Cardinal goal, because it's just different. It's nothing like it.
I know Lincoln Riley has talked about when you go through hard times that you have to keep and continue to have perspective and gratitude for where you are, and that it's more important than ever to be able to do that. How does he talk to you guys about that? Do you talk to each other about when you go through tough times, understanding where you are and what a privilege it is to be sitting where you are?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely a topic of discussion. I'd say last year when we went through the struggles that we did, we talked about not getting too high and not getting too low. And when we were in those low moments, not getting too down on ourselves. And when we were doing good, not getting too high, just kind of staying right in that middle ground and knowing who we are and staying true to ourselves.
Did I hear you're a big country music fan?
Yeah, I like country music.
Yeah? Who's your go-to?
I like Zach Bryan, but I listen to a lot of stuff. So.
Okay, all right. Who shouldn't be allowed to pick the music in the locker room? Is there anybody that's banned from being able to pick the playlist?
No, I don't think there's anyone banned, because if you have a weird playlist, don't get on the aux. So
you just know better.
Yeah.
You just know better. What's on your playlist?
Me, I'm kind of like an old soul. I like old school music, like R&B. I'm listening to New Edition. People of that nature, but new school, like Rod Wave, Drake, kind of mainstream, so nothing too crazy.
I want to say, I know we only got you guys for another minute or so, but one of the things that we don't get a chance to talk enough about, and that's why I love Media Days, because we get a chance to get to know you guys, but I know you're all extremely faith-oriented as well, and that's a big part of who you are. So for the opportunities that you don't get to talk about that, just how has that shown up in your life? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, my faith is everything to me. I think that, I know that I'm nothing without God, and I'm so grateful that He's put me in the position and to have a platform to talk about my faith. And so, yeah, just continue to grow in my faith.
Yeah, he hit it right on the point. Especially coming to USC, having chapel and having Bible study with the team has been something that I made a focal point to attend to this year. And yeah, it's been great, and I'm so blessed to be a part of the USC family, and it's a blessing.
Well, we appreciate you guys so much spending some time with us. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. August 30th against Missouri State. Big Ten Network is where it all starts, but I know there's a lot to happen between now and then, so enjoy camp, and we'll see you later this month.
The Iowa Hawkeyes coming off an 8-win season a year ago. 6 Big Ten wins left Kirk Ferentz 1 win shy of tying Woody Hayes for first on the all-time Big Ten wins list. He has 204. He's got a really good team coming back, including 8 all-conference performers back from a season ago. And the head coach of the Hawks, Kirk Ferentz, joins us now heading into year 27 in Iowa City, which is an impressive run. And Coach, I know you well enough to know I have to ask this question, right? But I know you're going to say you've been around really good players and you've had a really good staff, and I know all that's true. But when you think about being up there with Woody Hayes, passing Amos Alonzo-Stagg last year, passing Bo Schembechler, what is the magnitude of being on the precipice of being the winningest coach in Big Ten history?
Yeah, in some ways I almost feel like it's irreverent because those are really special names there, certainly. And the other component I would add is you got to be in the right place, too. And I grew up in Pittsburgh. Steelers have had 3 coaches since 1969. And it's all about the organization there. And I think I've been – and the ironic part, I didn't even know where Iowa was in 1981 when I came out here. I looked on a map, literally thought Chicago was the end of civilization as we knew it. And, the second question, what are you going to do in Iowa? What do you do? But obviously we grew to love it, my wife and I. So the fact that we've been here that long, it's just amazing. But the bigger pictures, we've had 2 head coaches. Assuming I make it through the year, 47 years, we've had 2 head coaches at Iowa, and that's so uncommon in collegiate athletics. But I think it speaks well to the place I work at. It's just a great place. A lot of good support, but again, it does get back to the players and coaches, and I will follow up on that. In football, head coach, I'm not saying they're not important, but it's not like a basketball team where you only got 5 guys on the court. In football, there's so many things that have to be right to have success, and I've worked with great assistants in the 80s, and we've had great assistants and players that really care about winning during all 36 of my years there.
There's a lot of excitement about a number of your players on this team this year, but one of them is certainly Mark Gronowski, the quarterback who transferred in from South Dakota State. We haven't had a chance to see him. I know you really haven't had a chance to see him throw to your team, right, because he had a shoulder injury, which he's been mending here in the offseason. But I know you saw him a lot on tape. I know you've seen him around the facility. Give us a sense in what you're getting with Mark Gronowski.
Yeah, like everybody else, I'm anxious to see him break the huddle with our guys and run a play with our guys, be the quarterback. So, but what I would say is, since we met him back in January, right after New Year's, he and his dad came to town, spent a day and a half, and when he walked out, I felt so good about who he was and his family life, all those types of things. Comes in with a mechanical engineering degree. I thought about engineering for about 10 minutes and then, moved on with a Dean's List GPA. So he's just a really impressive guy, obviously very intelligent, obviously a hard worker to get a degree like that. And then accomplished on the field. And I think the levels is so overrated. I think good players are good players, and otherwise everybody in the NFL would be coming from the marquee schools and programs. And, and the other thing I would just say I admire, he came in with a surgery, post-surgery, couldn't do all the hard work that guys do in the spring and the winter program and spring ball, yet he handled it really adeptly, didn't try to force anything. And now that he is working, like everybody in our building, all of the players, anybody associates with him just has the highest regard for him.
Coach, because of your success that Rever described, you've been around longer than most doing what you're doing, and yet you've embraced all the changes. You and I shared thoughts during the summer about this. What changes do you really like about what's going on?
First of all, you don't have to like everything, right?
Right.
It's just
right.
It's the way life is. You don't have to like everything or be 100% on board, but at some point you've got to decide, okay, what are we going to do here moving forward? And so we've tried to be as smart and just tried to, make the decisions that fit our program and not compromise who we are or what we are. We'll find out if it works or not. Time will tell, but happy with that. To your point, I'm really excited about what just took place and hopefully can stay in place. The concept of, revenue share. Right. The only addition I told our guys 2 weeks ago, I said, if I was in charge, which I'm not, 80% of whatever you earn would be put away for 10 years, somewhere safe where it would work for you, and then you guys can do whatever you want. That's not the real world, but I think the revenue share concept and hopefully realistic NIL, cherry pick Caitlin Clark, Spencer Lee. Now that's what NIL is about. Right. Not somebody that is the fourth team, whatever, going down and signing 10 autographs. What are we talking about? But that's the world we've lived in the last 3 years. And one big takeaway from the NFL, the salary cap, contracts being contracts, free agency being free agency, the structure where 32 teams can compete on an equal level. And then, ownership plays into it, coaches and players, that's who wins in the NFL. We've gotten off that path, so I'm hoping we're back on that path. And I know there's a million legal battles to be fought, but gosh, I hope we can just kind of get back to where it gets down to playing and coaching and not all the other stuff.
I'd argue that the majority of coaches we all talk to in the offseason have an element of, God, the schedule's crazy. The grind is crazy. It's different than it was before. I'm curious for you, what keeps you going?
It's always been crazy. What are they talking about today, right? It's always been crazy. But, it's if you love what you do, it's what you do. And I've never been into working just to work or do things look busy. But, yeah, you do what's necessary. That's what you do, and that's how I was raised, how I was taught, out of football and in football. And the best guys I've been around, they do what they have to do. They don't talk about it, and it drives me crazy when coaches talk about it because, a lot of people work hard. There are other people that have 2 jobs and other people that are, we're pretty fortunate. I was telling somebody the other day, we look at our building. We get fed. We're putting our feet up and watching film. Okay, yeah. It's not like working in a coal mine or, there's a lot of jobs that are a lot harder than ours.
Coach, I read where someone asked you about how long you were going to coach, and your answer was something like, well, I don't know that I can go home. Mary's not ready for me walking around the house asking me stupid questions. What are some of the stupid questions?
Well, I've tried to learn not to ask those questions, like about 15 years ago, maybe. Finances. And I hope Mary's honest, because I'll walk home someday and the whole house will be emptied out, and I have no idea what to do on anything, so I could be in trouble there. But pretty much any question I ask is stupid when it comes to the household, because she runs it all, and I have her blessings to keep playing or keep coaching, and I appreciate that, because as you know, coaches' wives, they're the ones that really pay the price. Talk about working hard. You know, we moved to Maine from Iowa in 1989. I'm up there, and she's trying to move 4 kids up there, and snowstorm and all the whole 9 yards. So they pay a real price, but she's been so supportive, and I'm so appreciative.
There's not a coach in the country that doesn't admire what you do. I'd be curious what you might say are non-negotiables to build and sustain success like you have as a head coach.
You know, we all have our beliefs of what's important, and when I got here 27 years ago, I was hardly a veteran guy, but had done it long enough to and been around some really good people, and I've been so fortunate. Not only head coaches, but assistants I've worked with. I've learned so much. So you have an idea of what you do believe in. You know, some sense of this is what's important. So that's one thing we've stuck to for 20 plus years, and like I said, I really feel good about our team this fall and how it's going to go. The landscape's been changing, and I've told people, you know, up through January, I think I've got an idea of where it's at. What happens afterwards, who the heck knows? But the one thing I know is we're going to stay true to who we are, what we are, and you know, if that's not good enough, then somebody else is going to turn at it.
It's been good enough, I think. It's been the general theme that's run through it. I want to ask you a little bit about the running back position. Caleb Johnson was just unbelievable last year. I mean, I think we all anticipated he'd be good. Maybe you anticipated he was going to be what he was last year. I don't know that we did. How do you replace that production at running back?
So that's what's so awesome about college sports. And I was looking at the graphic up on the screen at the start. Key departures, Jay Higgins, Caleb Johnson. So Jay Higgins, you know, how we replace Jack Campbell? We had Jay Higgins, who's not a first-round pick, but a first-round player, college player. And don't rule him out with the Ravens either. But, you know, he stepped in, he learned, watched other guys learn, and went in and played really well. But he had done the hard work necessary. Caleb last year, his turning point, in my opinion, was in August. He practiced so well entire month of August, just a focus that he's always been a great kid, but his focus here, there, sometimes here, and last year it was like, boom, right there, and that's how he played. And so things don't happen by accident, but there's a maturity process, being around other guys, learning. And I look at our room right now, I'm not sure who's going to be the starter. I'm not sure how the reps are going to get divided. And that may change as we go through the season, but it's a really good group of guys. We've got guys we all feel good about, and I think we can play winning football with all 5 guys that were with us in the spring.
Well, building off that kind of same question at linebacker, I mean, you lose a lot of production there, as you were just talking about. Who are the next guys in line?
Well, Jaden Harrell's the first guy that comes to mind, Carson Char, but again, we got a group of guys that have all been working and competing, and this team, as much as any as I can remember recently, it's going to go through August before. If I wrote down our starters right now, I'd be wrong probably on 5, 6, 7 of them, I'm guessing, by the start of the season, and then I'll carry it into the month of September. Also, I'll go back to 08. You know, Pat Anger and Stanzi both were second team the month of September in 08, and probably waited too long to get Stanzi in there. Me, that was my job, and I didn't do it. But anyway, those guys end up being great leaders in the program that year, and then our 09 Orange Bowl team, you know, those guys did a great job. So I think we could see some of those stories as well.
Yeah, great home schedule. Some tough games, but I know the fans are anticipating Oregon, Penn State, Indiana. What does it mean to have high-profile games like that at home?
It's a great thing about our conference. You know, we just play so many tough opponents, and every week, as you guys know, there is a real difference in conference football. You cannot deny that. Anybody knows sports, because every week you just don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. So I got some great games, you know, big names as we sit here today, but the landscape may look different in November. You never know. So each game's going to be a challenge.
You know, you're one of the few teams that have obviously the 9 conference games, but a non-conference rival. That makes it even more difficult for a place like Iowa with the schedule.
Yeah, it does. I got asked earlier about the SEC Big Ten matchup. First answer is like, you know, they're playing 8 conference games, we play 9. I'm not great in math, but like that ain't smart. And then to your point,
Iowa State,
our 10th game is Iowa State, and I don't like playing it because it's such a hard series. I mean, they've done a great job, and it's a great competitive thing. But it's so good for our state, and why wouldn't we play it? But it is one more big challenge.
No doubt.
Last year we saw elements of your offense. We had your final regular season game against Maryland, and the quarterback room everybody was used up by the time you got to the end of the season. I'm curious for Tim Lester, where you think this offense will go, this receiving room. Reese Vanderzee coming back is maybe the leader in that room right now, and I'm curious what you might project or what you might be hopeful for around the passing game.
Cherry pick Reese. Reese was hurt all summer last year. He came in after playing baseball. He was hurt. He was hurt a lot in August. So, he was a kid out there, but he did go up and compete for a ball a couple times during the year to get you excited. He's a totally different guy now. He's been in the program. He's gone through the summer program, winter program. He's just a different guy physically and maturity-wise. So I think he's going to take a big step forward, and I think we got a lot of guys in that room that have done the hard work. So I'm excited to see that. We talked about the running back room. I think it's very similar. And I think we're finally, after a couple of years of some tough circumstances, our line plays back to where we like it, at least closer to, and feel good about the quarterback spot. So I do know this. If you can complete a couple passes and run the ball, you might have a chance to maybe score some points and win if you play defense on top of it and special teams. So that's always been the picture. It's always been the goal. But, you got to work around the obstacles. And credit to our guys the last couple of years, our staff and our players, handling some tough circumstances. And you mentioned the Maryland game. Jackson wasn't ready to be a starter in the Big Ten, but he got us through the game and we won it and did an admirable job.
Kirk Ferentz, head coach of the Hawkeyes. Coach, always a pleasure to visit with you. Looking forward to watching Iowa this year. We learned a ton when we're at camp, so we look forward to that as well, and appreciate your time as always.
Look forward to hosting you guys. Always great having you. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. One of the centers of attention here at Big Ten Football Media Days on the final day, Nico Iamaleava, the transfer quarterback for UCLA. A lot of excitement over the summer as the Bruins landed one of the highest profile transfer quarterbacks of this offseason. Here is the challenge ahead for Nico and his teammates. They start off against Utah, a Fox game on week 1, so a high-profile game right off the bat. UNLV back here in Vegas and then New Mexico before opening conference play on the road on the lakefront in Evanston against Northwestern. Joined now by 3 of the Bruins, Garrett DiGiorgio, Nico Iamaleava, JonJon Vaughns. Guys, welcome. First of all, we got to talk about the wardrobes. You're the only ones who coordinated this, so tell me how this came about. You look sharp, first of all. Yeah.
These are the tux we wore last year to each game. We walked down the Bruin Walk together in them, but we just really wanted to show we're a team. We didn't want to have different tuxedos together. Didn't want to stand out as individuals and show we were a true team. So
yeah,
we like the baby blues. They look good.
Yeah, they do look good. It's a great color scheme. Among the many things that UCLA has going for it is a really good color scheme. Garrett and JonJon, I want to ask the guys who were there last year. First of all, you guys finished really well last year. I know the season didn't start the way you wanted it to, but down the stretch, it felt like you were playing the kind of football you want to play. So how do you build on that?
We really just want to carry that into the next season, and we really just built this whole offseason to try to take that momentum of finishing strong and start the season off like that.
What did you attribute that to, JonJon? Why do you think you guys got better as last year went on?
Just playing one game at a time and just doing us and be us, not try to be other teams, but just doing us.
Nico, give me a sense. You had a lot of programs you could have chosen from. You're a really high-profile transfer. I know you're going home, and that's a part of it, and we'll certainly get into that. But what was the vibe around UCLA that made you think this was the right place to go?
Yeah, man, I think the whole coaching staff and just the players that I already knew on the team. There's a good amount of players that I knew before, either playing against them or with them. And then, when I first, took my first visit, I just felt very welcomed by the team, and, it made me feel good. So, very thankful for the opportunity.
What does it mean to be back home?
It means everything, man. I'm closer to my family. All my family can come to the games now. And, I love what we got going on. I love what Coach Foss has going on with the program. And, he's building something special, and I want to come be a part of that.
Let's talk a little bit about Coach Foster for the 2 guys who played for him last year. It was his first time ever as a head coach. What's he like to play for?
He brings a lot of energy. We have the Dre in our program, discipline, respect, enthusiasm. He brings that every day. So I think that trickles down to us as players. And honestly, he's just a great person all in all.
So does that make him Dr. Dre? If he's
something like that.
Yeah, give us a sense for him.
Yeah, he's a great coach, and I love playing for him. Even if I was on the scout team, I still was right next to him, and he was always being positive about everything. And that's what we want to bring this year, just positive and believing and trusting each other.
What did you guys learn about the Big Ten in year one?
That it's a powerhouse. You gotta pack the defense. You gotta make plays pretty much each and every drive.
Garrett?
And we got to run the ball. We got to run the ball this year, and that starts with the O-line. Our standard on the O-line is STP. We have something to prove this year. That's where we're coming out strong against Utah.
We got some good acronyms going on this team. We got the DRE, we got the STP. So how do you prove it?
It starts, we just take each step and block day by day. We talked about doing 1 week at a time. We talked about 1-0. That's really just our mindset as we build on the season.
JonJon, the defense was pretty good last year. How do you guys build on that?
Really just being us and next man up and having that trust in each other, and then just stopping the run and believing in ourselves.
Yeah. Give me a sense for the coaching staff on that side of the ball.
Yeah, so Coach Makai, he's going to give us a lot of schemes, and we're just going to run it, and we're going to believe in ourselves, and we're going to attack it.
You got a pretty interesting story. You're a two-sport athlete. You play baseball at UCLA, and now this is the first time that you've been able to focus in an offseason entirely on football. How does that change things for you?
It changes things a lot. I mean, I gained 10 pounds of muscle, lost like probably 10 pounds of fat, and I got faster, so it makes me ability to move around a lot, and I felt like I got better in mental-wise on and off the field with the plays and all, and being built with the whole team, being closer instead of that 6 months off, 12 months with them the whole time. So it's a good connection.
Yeah, no doubt. Nico, for you, give us a sense of what this offense is going to look like with you at the helm.
Yeah, man, I hope we, are able to make explosive plays. I think for me, just me being the best quarterback I can for my teammates. And, Coach Tino's done a great job on putting me in great positions to go out there and be successful. So everything offense, in his playbook. And, man, I'm excited to be a part of it.
And you're also in the same quarterback room with your brother, Garrett.
Yes, sir.
What's that like to, you guys obviously were at different schools, planning on being at different schools, and now here you are.
Yeah, my little brother Madden, man, it's been great,
Madden,
man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, all good. Yeah, it's been great just having him in the room with us. And, yeah, me just, being a helping hand to anything he needs. And, I can't wait to play with him, too.
Yeah, tremendous. And being close to home, you mentioned your family. I know your mom's been through a lot as a cancer survivor. So what's it like to have both of you guys where she's close to you?
Yeah, definitely, man. That was, a big factor for me coming back home and being closer to my mom and just my parents and my family in general. So while competing at the highest level at UCLA, and, once I got that opportunity, I couldn't take it for granted. So.
Tell me a little bit about Nico's leadership. I always think it's interesting when you have a transfer quarterback. We were talking about this yesterday with Preston Stone from Northwestern, kind of this notion of you come in, quarterback's a leadership position, so right off you got to be a leader, but you're the new guy. And so kind of what's the balancing act? How has it worked out for him, and how have you guys seen him fill in that role?
I feel like we definitely have given him time to work into that role. We definitely have been around him to support him in the locker room, on the field when we're starting our stuff as a unit. Nico, he got to come in pretty early in the summer, so it was good to have him around the guys. I feel like a lot of guys are starting to grow closer with him. And me, myself, on this trip, I feel like we've gotten a lot closer as well, too.
How do you kind of thread that needle, Nico? I mean, because you do want to be a leader, but you don't want to be the guy who comes in and says, hey, it's all about me, and, you guys all fall in line. Like, I just think it's got to be really – it's part of what makes the transfer portal era really interesting in football, but, give me a sense of how you've navigated that.
Yeah, I think that really just starts with, our whole coaching staff and the team really on accepting me when I first got here, man. Like I said, they made me feel very welcome. Coach Corey Miller and the weight staff, Coach Brasher, Coach, Tesso, Coach, all the guys in the weight room, really just made me feel comfortable enough to go out there and step into that leadership role. And just leading on my veterans, man. Garrett and JonJon have been, two great helping hands to me. And when I first got here in my transition, so, man, I can't wait for this season. I'm just excited to be a part of the team.
How have you seen it from the defensive side, him take over as a leader?
I mean, he's a very humble kid. So I see him, all the plays that he's making during 7-on-7, the teams, I could see him become that leader, being more vocal. Hey, do this, do that, and just teaching the guys and being positive about it. But yeah, he's a great leader.
Hey, Garrett, I know off the field you played the stock market a little bit. You got stock tips for the viewing public?
I don't have any stock tips. I actually was losing money last night.
Oh, no. So, I'm sorry I brought it up, so you're not playing
no,
stock market anymore.
No, not too much. I'd rather have someone else who is more versed in that to do it for me.
And you do some DJing as well, huh?
Yeah, I do. I have a controller at home. It's pretty fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do parties or
no?
big
It's
events?
just a hobby. It's just a hobby.
Just guys come over and hang out, and you're the music man.
Yeah, I mean, I get to express myself through music. It's pretty cool. It's a passion for sure.
How would you describe his musical taste?
I love it. I mean, I love just vibing, dancing to it, just vibing to it. It's pretty great.
How do you guys define success for your team this year?
I think we talked about it a little bit. 1-0. I think that success, we can't look too far into the future down the road. We just got to take it game by game, practice by practice, and
yeah, and having no regrets about anything, just
putting our all,
putting everything together.
Nico, how about for you?
Yeah, the main thing for me is to bring a championship culture back to Westwood. I hate losing, so I'm a big time winner, and I want to win games, and that's our main thing. Our main goals for this year is to bring championships back to Westwood, and Coach Foss, Coach Ramil, they all preach that every day to us in the weight room and in the team room. So, man, like I said again, I'm very excited for the opportunity that all three of us have here to represent UCLA.
Awesome, guys. You represented them well here this afternoon. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. You got the easy trip.
Yes, sir.
Back home,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Yeah. All right, well, enjoy the rest of your time in Vegas. Heard from the players. Now it's time to hear from the head coach, DeShaun Foster, his second Big Ten Media Days. He gets set to lead UCLA this year. The Bruins coming off a 5-7 year, but one that saw them finish really well. They won 4 of their last 6 games last season. Overhauled the staff fairly significantly, including hiring Tino Sinceri, who had been at Indiana as his offensive coordinator. Significant roster overhaul as well, with 31 transfers coming in for the Bruins as DeShaun Foster gets ready for year number 2 and joins us now on our set here in Las Vegas. And Coach, let's start with transitioning into the second year. You hadn't been a head coach, obviously, going into last year. So what did you learn about yourself as a coach a season ago?
Mostly it was just about the motivation, being able to get these guys to play hard week in and week out. We hit a skid where we had lost a few games in a row, and if you came out to practice, you couldn't tell what our record was. And that just resonated with me because I was able to get them up each week to play. And then we finally were able to get on a run and win our last, 4 out of 6.
Yeah, I think that really speaks volumes about those guys, right? Because it didn't start well, and you're new to this, and it just feels like for everyone, hey, are we going to be able to get this thing going? And I think often that's reserved for the offseason, but to be able to turn it on mid-season in the way that you guys did kind of speaks volumes about the guys you had. Was there a moment where you thought, hey, this is clicking? Is there something that happened where you said, hey, I think we've turned the corner here?
The Minnesota game. I think after we played Minnesota, they understood how we let that game slip through our hands. And I think the players really, it resonated with them, and they came out that next Monday with a whole different type of mentality, and that's when we took off.
I want to go to your area of expertise, the running game, and some room for improvement there. When you look back on last year, what were the areas that were missing, and kind of what are the key areas for you to get this run game up to that next level?
Attempts. We have to just attempt to run the ball. And me being a running back, like you said, I want to hang my hat on that. So we're going to get out there, and I was able to switch coordinators and get Tino Sinceri in here and Andy Kwan as my offensive line coach. And I'm just excited about what they bring to the table. 2 hungry coaches that really want to show the world that they belong on this big stage.
You mentioned hungry. You got a lot younger on the coaching staff as well. Was that something you were thinking about after you decided you wanted to make a change?
It wasn't the focal point, but it was in the back of my mind. I did want to make sure that these guys can relate to these players and recruit them. Still, this is a different era of kids, so you have to recruit them a certain type of way, and I wanted to make sure I had the right people to do that.
two biggest pieces. Play caller, you already mentioned Tino. Obviously, quarterback, it would be Nico. What have you seen from their relationship growth since they first stepped on campus, now entering fall camp?
It's huge, you know. I just love Tino's energy. You know, he's a guy that's played quarterback at a high level, and he just holds them accountable, and their expectations are high. And I just think that they can hang their hat on the words that he says, and they just have a good relationship, you know. Like you said, Nico's a great player, and I just love how humble he is, you know. So he's open to learning anything, and he hasn't big-timed anybody in our program, coaches, players. He's always in there acting just like one of the regular guys, like he's been here his whole time. So I'm just excited to see what Nico can do.
You know, one of the things we talked about last year when we were here was your ability now to work with others on the defensive side, special teams. How did you enjoy that transition during the season?
That was fun, you know, because you get to just insert your leadership throughout the team. And I'm still in the process of doing that. You know, I'm still conscious of, you know, you got to show your face more on the defense. They need to see you over here, not just offensively. You know, I hate when my players, if I blow the whistle or stop the play, they're like, "Oh, the offense." You know, so I just try to make sure that I'm there. You know, we're a team and we got to be there for each other. But you know, I love what Akaika was doing defensively, and I'm just going to continue to, you know, show my face on that side of the ball and just make sure that everybody's embodying what I want.
It's especially important, though, because you're replacing a number of starters on defense. You bring in some new coaches defensively, and, you know, to go from a position coach to a head coach, like the role is completely different. So I'm curious what role you play in getting those guys to gel together, kind of basically getting their chemistry in place. How are you involved in getting them to be familiar with one another?
It's more of that's kind of why we're going off campus for training camp, to bring everybody together. You know, when you keep them in their familiar environment, as soon as practice is over, they'll go home, or, you know, I'd rather eat in my space. But if we do off-site training camp, everybody's going to eat lunch together, breakfast, dinner. You'll sit down and just maybe go over the playbook with somebody a little longer, you know. But we just have to find a ways, especially with this much turnover, like you guys said, we have to find ways to get this team to gel. And those couple weeks in training camp has to be enough. So if we're not on campus, if we're not away from campus, I wouldn't get exactly what I wanted out of it.
Can I follow up with you on that? You know, I've thought about this. You know, pre-NIL, we were getting our rent checks, and it was like $1,200 a month. So we all had to pool money together, and you live with 5 or 6 guys. Now these guys can afford their own homes, and they got cars that they can navigate. Is that a challenge that you've had to address on the team? How do you go about approaching that?
Your academics better be on point for you to get off campus.
Okay.
And that's what I'm hanging my hat on. So all my guys understand that you got to be above a 3.0 multiple times to get off campus, not just once. I want to see that you can function away from here, and then I can give you some more leeway. But the apartments that they stay in are pretty nice, and it's cool and everything, but like you said, they make money now, so they want to move.
They're living together?
Yes, and they're still living together.
Good, okay.
Too. Exactly, because some guys wanted to move out, and I was like, no, you should probably live with one of your teammates. So I kept them together.
What have you learned, or what has shocked you about having the corner office that has said, oh, I didn't know I was going to have to deal with all of this?
It's just the off the field. The football stuff, you understand all of that. But it's academics. It's somebody in the dorms having a problem. It's talking to parents, even though you are talking to parents as a running back coach because you have that relationship with them. But now I'm talking to people that I didn't have a relationship with because I wasn't there when they got recruited, you know, or I was on the other side of the ball. So right now it was trying at first, but, you know, we're finally in familiar territory, so it feels good to finally be in a position to where I'm like, okay, I know what to expect.
How much do you draw on your experience as a player? Like, have you thought about when you're talking to the players, this is how I'd like to communicate? Like, how do you draw on your playing days? Yeah?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything comes from that. Because the way that I want to get them to play is how I play for my coaches, and it's because they befriended me. I didn't feel like they were using me. It was just, you know, they had me over their house. We broke bread together, you know. I still talk to my running back coach to this day. So I try to do the exact same thing as the head coach. I know I can't do it as much as I would like to when I was a position coach, but I can still try to have the team over my house as much as possible. I can maybe just do the offense this time, do the defense next time, do specialists. So I'm just constantly just trying to find ways to reach them and to make sure that we're all on the same page and they really understand and everybody wants to buy in.
Do you cater food or do you grill out when they come? Like, who mans the grill?
It depends on what group is coming. So.
Okay, so the O-line's coming. Tell me
that. You need like 3 grills for the O-line.
I can't do that.
No way
I won't get to eat. I'll just be grilling.
You'll never get a chance.
Yeah. I want to ask you a little bit just about the fact. I mean, this is along the lines of what Jake was asking you, but drawing on your own experience. I mean, it's your school, and I've just always thought that is something that, and I guess in the NFL you could have it, right? You play for an NFL team, and maybe you feel a connection there, but college football is different because it's your school, because you've walked that campus, you've gone in those classrooms, you've been in that facility. How do you internalize that, and how do you deal with kind of the emotion that comes with, hey, this means something to me more so than maybe it might mean to someone else?
It's crazy because you got to remember I'm still in group chats with teammates and alumni, and so.
And those group chats are dangerous.
Exactly.
Do you have to raise your hand and say, I'm in this group
chat?
Yes,
I'm here.
You guys realize, right? All those little circles. One of them is the coach. Yeah.
I did see that. So, but it's you just have to find ways to constantly get your players to just believe, because the hardest thing for us to do right now is get them to be consistent. And it's hard to be consistent at that age. So everything that I'm doing is just constantly keep them in a routine and try to make sure that they're consistent every day. And everything else will work itself out. But it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because I'm wearing both hats. Yeah. But this is my dream job, I know this school in and out. I've sat in the exact same seats that they're going to sit in. I've had some of the thoughts that you've had. Academics is hard. School is hard. Football's hard. Like, I've had these, but you can do it. And I can speak to that. So I just try to lean on my experiences a lot. Everything comes from my experiences.
Let's talk a little bit about recruiting, and only because I think it appears that it's taken off and gone into another gear. When I had the chance to be there last year in the spring, you guys had opened it up. There was a lot of energy around it. Does that continue, and how have you seen things change as well?
Just want to make it visible, because I just felt that we weren't visible enough. To be in LA, we weren't visible enough. People knew UCLA, but I don't think everybody knew UCLA. You understood the colors, you understood the academics, but you didn't understand the football, So I just wanted to make it visible, and we're just doing a good job. My coaches are competing at recruiting. They're all taking it serious and really wanting to be the number one recruiter on staff. But other than that, it's just making sure that we find the right type of kids that's going to give us the opportunity to develop them. Because if you get the wrong kid, you're only going to have them for a year, gone. I can't miss. I got to make sure I'm getting the right kids, and we're doing a good job on getting kids that really embody our pillars.
What is the best part, or what is your favorite part? I mean, this is your dream job. As you reflected on year one, now going into it, what was your favorite part?
Walking out of that tunnel every game, I'm getting to do this in different phases. So I've come to the Rose Bowl as a recruit. Came to the Rose Bowl as a player. As a assistant. I was a volunteer. Then an assistant coach. Now the head coach, So it's similar to Vegas, being here. I was telling my players, so I've come to Vegas in different forms with my parents, stayed at Circus. Come on spring break where we all stayed in one room together because we had put our money together so we can get a room. Made it to the NFL, now we're able to get suites or whatnot, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing, but I just like to let these guys know that I've sat in these exact same seats that you guys have sat in. I've gone through every experience that you've gone through. Lean on me.
What are some of the things that you want to have accomplished after you guys leave training camp that will give you the confidence that, okay, we're ready for the season to start?
I just want to make sure that my team is just, they understand what we're getting our hands into. We play Utah this first game. It's very similar to the Big Ten. They play a certain type of football. It's blue collar. They're going to come out there. They're going to play their game. They're not going to beat themselves. I'm just trying to reiterate that to our guys so they understand what we're getting into. And I think that they're doing a good job in that. And I think they're excited about this because they know how hard they worked this offseason in the winter and then how hard they worked in the spring. You know, this summer has gone really well, and I'm just excited. I think that that's the biggest thing, that this expectation for us might not be where other people think, and I'm excited for that too.
You know, Coach, it really feels like you found your voice here in the last year. How did that evolve? Like, how do you figure out who you want to be as a coach as a head coach when you're in that role for the first time?
Well, under the previous staff I was with, you weren't allowed to do interviews as your assistant coach. So the last time I talked to somebody, 09, when I was done playing football, you know. So, you know, it was just getting back into a routine, you know. And I'm just fortunate enough that I was able to get back in here and, you know, hit a home run in this Big Ten press conference and let everybody know that you're going to actually see growth in my team, just like you saw growth in me.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing the Bruins this year. DeShaun Foster, really good to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good year for Iowa a year ago, and here's what's ahead for the Hawkeyes this season. They open with Albany, an FS1 game on August 30th before the big rivalry game, Cy-Hawk against Iowa State. That'll be on Fox Big Ten Network. Excited to have the Hawks against UMass in week 3, and then opening up conference play on the road against Rutgers, a Fox game there, and thrilled to have 3 of the Hawkeyes here with us now. Koen Entringer is alongside me, Ethan Hurkett, Logan Jones as well. And Ethan and Logan, I need to ask the two of you. I think this is the first time that I've ever had 2 different players on the set with me who both got married over the summer. So let's start with the highlight of the wedding reception for each one of you guys. Ethan, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Actually, there's 3 of us that got married, which is crazy. Our defensive tackle, Aaron Graves, got married too. But I think the best part of the reception for me was probably actually his speech, his best man speech. It was pretty emotional, and he got a little bit choked up, which
Not true.
he cried a lot, but no, he did a great job, and it meant a lot to me to hear those words.
What were the words, Logan? Give us a little. I mean, I know you don't. I don't need a word for word, but I mean, what did you say about Ethan that moved him so much?
Yeah, well, I think anytime you're giving a best man speech, it's kind of hard because all I do is talk a bunch of crap to this guy. So to actually be sentimental, it definitely got a little emotional towards the end. But, yeah, it was a lot of fun to give that speech. And I also got to take a few digs at him as well.
Yeah. All right. How about for you? What was the highlight of your wedding reception?
Oh, man. For the people that do know me, I'm a pretty good dancer. So anytime you can get me on the dance floor, I'm having a good time, yeah.
All right. Pretty good. I'd like to see some video of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a shame that we didn't prepare that in advance. Well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
We had your coach up here, Kirk Ferentz, and as you guys know, he's going to pass Woody Hayes. He's going to be the all-time winningest coach in the history of Big Ten football coming up this year. It's really an amazing accomplishment. We've had a front row seat to watch him for the last 19 years. This is year 27. Koen, I'll let you get the first word on this, but I'm interested from all of you of what it's like to play for someone who has such an unbelievable track record and is on the precipice of making history.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a blessing from God just to be able to play for an amazing coach like Coach Ferentz. You know, just the fact that he's been coaching for so long, just a testament to his greatness and his commitment. And I can speak for all my teammates, past and present. Just it's an honor to play for an amazing coach. Seriously, it's an honor.
Yeah, what do you think makes him so great, Ethan? Like, why has he been? I think the word is consistent. From where we sit, why has he been so consistent year in and year out?
I think what makes him special in college football is just the fact that he really cares about his players. You can tell, especially, you know, after a big game, he'll get emotional, and you can just tell how much it really means to him. And I think that makes us just want to fight for him that much more. He's a guy that shows up to work every day. He's genuine. He knows everybody's name in the facility. From a freshman all the way to a senior, he knows about your family, and you can just tell that he cares.
Logan?
Yeah, it's hard because Coach Ferentz, he's been here for so long, right? And you see the players that have played here before us, they're a part of this as well. And we're kind of just a small part of that. You look back, you got guys like Bob Sanders, Robert Gallery, Brandon Scherf. I mean, you can name a lot more, but to be able to be a part of this small part of, you know, his career is truly something special. And I'm really excited for this season and that moment when he does pass it.
Well, this will be a special year, no doubt. I mean, he's going to pass him this year. But I also think it has a chance to be a really special year for you guys, irrespective of what Coach Ferentz is doing. Just as a team, I look at you. I think a lot of people look at you as a potential college football playoff dark horse. I'll let you address this first, Logan. But to what extent do you guys talk about that internally as being one of those 12 teams?
Absolutely. I mean, our goals are to play until, late January, whenever that national championship is. But we realize the only way we're going to get there is, by winning week 1. And then when week 2 comes, we got to win that game, right? You're never going to get to your end goal if you don't focus on what's in front of you right now. So we just got to take it day by day.
Koen and Ethan, I want to talk to you a little bit about the defense, which just year in and year out is so incredibly good. I don't understand. I mean, maybe in Iowa, Phil Parker gets the recognition that he deserves. I have never felt like he truly gets the recognition that he deserves nationally. But just give people a sense of sitting in on a defensive meeting and what makes him so good.
I just think the greatest thing that makes Coach Parker so great is just his attention to detail, and he just demands excellence from regardless of position you are, regardless of where you're on the depth chart, whether you're a third-string DB or the starting defense end. He has that same standard of performance for everybody, and I think I can speak for everybody. It's just an honor to truly play for Coach Parker. He's such a great coach.
How does he convey that? The demands that he has, the expectations that he has on you guys. How does that come across?
I think it just starts with, every single year he shows us, this is the defense that we've had in the past, but then he reminds us, this is your team and this is your opportunity to make your own history. And I think Ethan can say too, we're just so fortunate to play with so many great players, and as long as we follow in their footsteps, it's a pretty good opportunity.
Yeah, is there pressure? I mean, the expectation is that Iowa's going to be great on defense. I almost sometimes feel like it's dismissive, right? We say, well, we know they'll be great on defense. And in some ways, it doesn't convey how hard it is to get there year in and year out, how challenging it is to reach that level of performance. So speak to what it means to be a key member of what is year in and year out one of the best defenses in America.
It means a lot. There's a long-standing tradition of Iowa defense, and I think especially in a conference like the Big Ten, it's going to be hard in and out each week to play these teams and to really try to uphold the standard that we have and the standard that has been set by so many great players before us. So we definitely realize what that means, and we accept the challenge.
Logan, it's interesting because in the years where Iowa is really, really good, we talk a lot about offensive line. And Kirk Ferentz, we know that's his background as an offensive line coach. And it had fallen off a little bit for a couple of years. I mean, if you think about, where were the struggles for Iowa? Was offense? Why was the offense great? I mean, I think part of it was quarterback play, but I think part of it, honestly, was offensive line play. This feels like a really different group. I mean, this feels like a group that could be in that Joe Moore Award kind of conversation here. Two-part question, but how do you feel like you've gotten it back? And what do you feel like you guys kind of have to prove this year?
I alluded to the guys earlier, like Brandon Sheriff, Robert Gallery. They set the standard for offensive line play at Iowa, right? And to be able to play for Coach Ferentz, who actually works with the offensive line at practice, is pretty cool. That doesn't happen everywhere. But then, like I said, the guys before us, they said it, and we have to uphold that. And it kind of fell off, right? But we had a really great group of guys last year, leaders, Mason Richmond, Nick DeYoung, Connor, just reset that standard and what we want to be, and it's just about upholding that now. We know what we want to do, and we're going to be the most physical team you play every game, right? And that's what we're going to do every single game.
Tell me a little bit about the quarterback who's going to be leading this team. And we were talking about with Coach Ferentz. I know Mark Gronowski's been injured, and so you haven't really had a chance to see him throw, but I'm sure you've spent a lot of time with him. Give us a sense for him.
Yeah, he's awesome. We got him down to the Lake of the Ozarks for an offensive line trip, so we got to spend a lot of time with him, which was a lot of fun. And then just being around him, I think he came from a culture that was pretty similar to ours, right? What it takes, and you have to earn everything. And he's had that same mindset when he got here, right? Earn everything. And he's been a great leader for a lot of guys. He didn't try and just take over the reins and, be leader. He earned that when he got here. And he's done a great job, and so many young guys, the quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs look up to him in that way.
I want to know a little bit about the Lake of the Ozarks trip. What happens on that trip, and how much food is consumed on an offensive lineman trip?
It seems like we always have enough, but then somehow we end up eating it all. But I mean, we're just down there golfing, having a lot of fun, getting down at the lake, jumping off diving boards and doing a bunch of dumb stuff for the most part. Some of the stuff I can't disclose, but it is a pretty good time.
All right. Well, I won't ask you to give away any trade secrets here. What about the defensive back group? This is an area year in and year out. You guys are really, really good. How do you feel about that group heading into this year?
No, I'm just so excited. I've been playing with Xavier Wampa, TJ Hall, DeShaun Lee, Zach Lupmer. I've been playing with these guys for about 2-3 years. So I'm just excited just for our turn to take the field and show what the Iowa DBs are all about. I'm just so fortunate to play under guys like Cooper DeJean, Riley Moss, who paved the way, kind of like all these guys were alluding to. At Iowa, it's just a special place. You get to come in and learn just from guys who are going to be potential first-rounders and guys like Cooper DeJean who are going to make plays on the biggest stage. And I'm just blessed to be a part of it, blessed to learn from Coach Parker, blessed to be a part of this defense, and I'm just really blessed. It's amazing.
Your story is great because you've really had to bide your time, and you were hurt for a while. So what does it mean to kind of be representing your school, to be on this stage, literally and figuratively, to have gotten to this point?
No, it's surreal, honestly. These guys right here, I look up to them every single day in the locker room, and just to share the stage with them is just truly a blessing from God. And I just, this is a message to everybody. If you just believe in God and trust in Him and trust in His ever so perfect plan for you, everything's just going to come together. So I'm just grateful, honestly.
Well, I know you guys hope that it'll come together on the field as well. You've got one of the things I love about what the Big Ten did with scheduling is they treated every school differently in terms of rivalry games. And Iowa is the one school that has the 3 protected rivalry games, and you've got the Iowa State game. So you guys know what all of these games mean. What is it? How does it impact you to play in games like that are so significant to the fan base?
Yeah, I think for me, anytime you can get like a trophy game, right? Nebraska, you got Minnesota, Iowa State. These games mean not only a lot to us, but our fans, right? So to be able to go out there and play on a Saturday, it's what you play college football for. So to be able to be a part of that and take the field with these guys and walk off the field with the trophy, I mean, there's no better feeling. Those trophy games really do mean something. The rivalry is real, and it runs deep.
All right, well, fellas, look forward to seeing you at camp. Congratulations to both of you on the nuptials, and we'll see you in Iowa City in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Back in Las Vegas, the Purdue Boilermakers taking over here on day number 3, the final afternoon of Big Ten football media days. Tony Grimes looking good in that black and gold, I will say. Here's a look at what's ahead for the Boilermakers here in 2025. They kick off the season on the Big Ten Network. First up, it's hosting Missouri State, followed by Southern Illinois. Things get pretty serious pretty fast, though. USC, followed by a showdown at Notre Dame, and later the defending national champs come to Ross-Ade Stadium in November. It will be interesting as they try and rebuild this thing under first-year head coach Barry Odom. Devin, Mockobee, CJ Madden and Tony Grimes. There are a lot of names that we have said today, but I got them right. And you guys are here and you look sharp. Great to see you. How's the day been so far?
Long. That's for sure. It's been long.
Long. All right. Well, you saved your best for last. I hope.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk about it because we had a chance to visit with your new head coach earlier. And Devin, I want to start with you because you were the returning centerpiece, the only returning starter on this team. Mm-hmm. What made you look around and decide that you wanted to stay for one more year?
I mean, it was a really easy decision for me just from a schooling aspect. I mean, my mechanical engineering degree is something that is very pertinent to me, and that's something I'm going to hold on to for the rest of my life. And like I've been saying, it's a 40-year plan, not a 4-1. So what's after football is going to be more important than what I'm doing right now. So, I mean, it made it really easy for me. And then having Coach Odom come in, it was just nothing but pluses from there.
Yeah, he seems like a terrific coach to be able to play for. His vision is very clear. We saw what he did down the road here at UNLV in 2 years there. Mechanical engineering. Mm-hmm. I know you're into cars. Tell me, what's the hardest class you've taken at Purdue?
It's probably one of the ones I've been taking right now. It's called Finite Element Analysis.
Ooh.
And from that by itself, I'm not going to go into detail because it's just going to sound like gibberish.
Yeah, I couldn't even say that if I had to. And we'll talk about your affinity for cars here in a little bit. But there's so many pieces that need to come together. 54 new faces on this squad.
Yes.
Tony, what has it been like that's coming in?
It's been amazing. I enjoyed my time, especially my last year. I've been doing this for so long already. But I'm enjoying my time. I love the guys we got in our locker room now. This is one of the best locker rooms I have been in, just the culture-wise. Everyone's team bonding is amazing. Everyone's having fun. We all competitors. We all working, so I'm enjoying it. What
was it about Barry Odom that made you say, yeah, I'm going with him?
I love Coach Odom. Coming out of Texas A&M, again, I wasn't, high on the board coming out as transfer portal, and he seen something in me a lot of coaches didn't see in me. He still seen that. that top cornerback that's going in the league. So.
You've been in a lot of different leagues, ACC, SEC, Mountain West, and now the Big Ten. So you are used to integrating into a new locker room. What is the key? I heard you're a team prankster. Is that confirmed that's true?
Yes, you can say that. Yeah, a little clown. But I can say what's been the key is just the guys, the leadership, like CJ, Mockobee, the guys that want to actually be here and that want to actually work, other guys going to follow. And so we got good leaders on the team.
Yeah, we do. CJ, I think about your trip here from Georgia, and obviously last year you have an ankle injury that kept you out for part of the season. First of all, where are you health-wise? How are you feeling?
110%.
Yes, sir.
110%. That is what we like to hear.
Ready to roll.
What was it about the vision when you had a chance to meet with Barry Odom? Because he said that was one of the first things that he did was try and meet with all the guys who were there when he came in. That he said to you, he's selling a vision of what he believes that he can build.
Yeah, when Coach Odom came in, he stated his vision and his philosophy, and I just believed in it. I'm very I feel confident, his plan for us.
You talk a lot about gratitude. I've read a lot of your different, heard a lot of different interviews with you, and it feels like you're somebody who really pays attention to what you have. And I think you could look around and think about all the things that you felt like you didn't have last year. So where does that mindset come from?
Man, I feel like it just comes from, how I was raised. Just great parents, great family, great background. They just taught me to, just cherish everything I have because I have it for a reason. Cherish everything I don't have, right? So, with that type of mentality, I feel like you just can't lose in life. You can't.
So what do you have with this Purdue team in 2025? Give us a preview of what people can
see.
A little sneak peek.
A little sneak peek.
Give us a sneak peek.
Man, we have a great team, man. I'm so proud of how far the guys have came. We've made great strides, especially learning a new defense, new offense for the offensive guys and things like that. So it's going to be great things this fall for sure.
We do know one thing is that Devin's going to be running the ball well because that's what he does. I mean, you have a chance to be one of the best rushers, if not the top rusher in Purdue history, and there's been some pretty unbelievable guys that have come through that program. Your mentality when you run, and I think as a running back, there's a fine line between patience and power. How do you approach the game?
Dog. I mean, at the end of the day, I think I keep repeating this, but I think it's about grit. It's about getting that extra yard where other guys aren't willing to fight for it. And doing that on a consistent basis every play, I think that's a value that can really take you far,
What's amazing to me is we talk a lot about how much the game has changed and NIL and transfer portal, and it is different than what it used to be. But from what I understand, you donated a fair amount of your NIL to your hometown youth league.
Yes, ma'am. $10,000 to the Boonville Youth League down in Boonville. I mean, it was just something that I wanted to do for those guys because, I mean, coming from a small town like that, that's where I bred my love for football, and I want to be able to help them out and give them the best experience that they could because those kids were probably wearing some of the same pads and helmets that I was when I got in there, so just trying to better their experience for them so they can have the same love for football that I do.
I love that, and I think there's a lot of stories about NIL money that get told, but those are the ones that need to get told more. And CJ, from what I understand, you made a donation recently as well.
Yes, I have. I made a donation to the Hannah Center back in West Lafayette. I just felt like it was the right thing to do. I mean, it's when your cup runneth over. I mean, that's nothing. It's something that you should do, really. And they was very appreciative, and I'm appreciative for them being appreciative. I think that was a tongue twister, but
you nailed it though.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good. Everything's well with that.
So tell me about one of your new interests outside of football and school. I hear you're getting into bowling.
Yeah. I'm a little something.
Okay then.
Me and my guys, Trey, Nico, Charles, we tend to go bowling. We started it up early this summer. I mean, when nothing else to do. All right, so we've been doing that competitively.
Are you any good?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
How many turkeys? Is that still? That's like my only bowling.
Yeah,
turkey.
I mean, I got a turkey once.
Okay, you got a turkey once.
Hey,
Look at you. All right, what is similar about bowling and football? Any crossovers?
Man, the biggest thing that I try to take away from bowling is, let's just say a frame doesn't go your way, a pin doesn't go your way, a certain ball don't go your way. I kind of feel like you can relate that to football. Like, not every play is going to go your way, but you still got to go play. I
That
still
is
got to
so
go bold and
good.
next one,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fresh set of pins. Let's go.
Exactly.
Forget about it. I love that. All right, Devin, we mentioned, obviously, you're a mechanical engineer. I know that you are into cars, into drag racing as well.
Yeah.
For the people that don't know, how did you get into it? I know it's big in your family.
I mean, yeah, grew up in a drag racing family. Mustang boys represent.
Love that.
So I grew up around the scene, always drive Mustangs. So I got my own. I got a '93 Ford Mustang, turbocharged. That thing's ready to go. But yeah, it's one of my loves. That's for sure.
Well, is there some adrenaline, I imagine?
Oh yeah, I mean, back in high school, I had the opportunity to go to a tech school. So I actually ended up graduating high school with my certifications as a mechanic. So I took that, and my whole senior year, I rebuilt one of my dad's old cars that was sitting for a while. Took it to the drag strip. And I'm going to be honest, that was probably the biggest adrenaline rush I'd ever had, even between football and all. I got back to the pits, and I was sitting there.
That is
it definitely solidified my love for sure.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, and I can't change a tire yet, so we'll have to talk after this. You've got your hands full because you're a dad to a beautiful little girl.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me her name.
Gianna.
Tell me about Gianna and what life is different when you become a parent. I do know that.
Yes, life is different when you become a parent. Gianna, that's my little girl. Like, that's my everything. Having her definitely changed the way I view life. Oh my goodness.
The cutest little lady I have ever seen in this.
Oh. Yeah, nah, she's adorable. She's adorable. She made me want to go harder and harder every day, though. That's for sure.
And how old is she?
She's 18 months.
She's 18 months. All right. So I just think, I could watch that clip over and over again on repeat. I know you could too. It was like you were seeing it for the first time. What has being a parent taught you? Because I think and you just said it, you look at the world differently. You're doing it for her. But what is becoming a dad? What has changed?
Teaching. I'm definitely more patient. I'm definitely more mature, but I'm teaching. Like, she's getting to the point where she's actually learning. She's actually smart for her own good right now. She's getting too smart. But she's learning, and I'm teaching. I'm not teaching to, like, college. I'm not teaching to, my DBs. I'm teaching to my little girl, so it's a different type of teaching you got to do.
I mean, you have so much more to come. If you think she's giving you a hard time right now, you just wait, my friend. You just wait. I know. I love it. I'm sure she's got you wrapped around her finger already, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I think there's so many things off the football field to talk about. There's so many things within the locker room in year one under Barry Odom, as we just talked about. But the consistency of trying to build what you guys believe is possible at Purdue, what are truly the expectations for year one? Because people on the outside, they're not paying a whole lot of attention, but I know that there is belief building in the locker room.
I mean, I think it just comes down to, everybody having that buy-in. The whole locker room already, even with the fresh set of guys, we've all come together so fast, and like what Tony was saying, that the meld between all of us has been phenomenal. I think we're a solid unit of guys, not just a bunch of individuals trying to play by themselves. So, when you talk about expectations, the expectations is to win. It's to get as many wins as we can. So, at the end of the day, that's the goal, and that's what we want.
And like we know a lot of people don't believe in the Boilermakers right now. We know a lot of people don't got our back, and we also know a lot of people want us to lose. But we got something from this year.
Yeah, let them think whatever they want.
Yeah,
for
sure.
You guys know what you can do, no doubt about it. By the way, we have to go, but just make sure that you ask Coach Odom, if you haven't already, about his high school performance senior year.
Okay, I will.
39 rushing touchdowns on a torn ACL is the tease. Yes, couple.
What? He got something to talk about.
You got to get the film out. You got to get the film
help.
out. Team meeting help. That's my tip for you guys. Thank you so much. Best of luck. Looking forward to watching you guys. We are rolling along into the final moments of our Big Ten Football Media Day coverage here in Las Vegas. Sherrone Moore, the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, visiting with the president of BTN, Francois McGillicuddy. Love that. A year removed from a national championship, the Wolverines went 8-5 a season ago, but as Coach Moore said on the podium, we are ready to put on a show, and they've got a lot of the big pieces in place. Obviously, the biggest headline in the offseason was the arrival of Bryce Underwood, but Sherrone Moore has also made it clear that the quarterback competition is open. Mikey Keene brings a lot of experience from Fresno State. I do know he's gotten a few Bryce Underwood questions here today. Sherrone Moore joining us on set, back with Howard and Jake. And maybe we should just get it right out of the way. How many more can we ask you? Yes, No, we'll just welcome to Las Vegas. It's great to see you, Coach.
Great to see you too. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, and we had a great time visiting with your players, which we'll get to in a little bit earlier today. But one of the things that you made mention of, and I know you've talked about, is just the growth of going through your first year as a head coach into year two and some of the things that you learned. So as you reflect back, when you took some time in the offseason, what were some of those things?
Yeah, a lot of great lessons I learned. First the delegation factor to our staff, and one, I just like to give a great shout out to our staff and what they did and the job they did to hold everything together. When you go through adversity, you really find out who you are. Everybody was happy, and there was no quarrels or anything when you go 15-0 and win a national title, but you really figure out who you are as a program and the culture you've built when you go through some adversity. And we figured out that we got great young men on the field and great leaders off the field. So I learned that. We got a great team, and it's just carried over into the spring and the winter cycle, spring, and then into the summer.
Coach, we talked about signing Bryce Underwood. You've shouted out your staff. We were together at the golf outing on Monday, and it feels like there's absolute commitment behind you. I know you're a confident guy already, but what does that do for your confidence to see the top-down commitment, even from outside the program?
Through the roof. We always talk about alignment. Great programs, great organizations. It's 99% alignment, 1% vision. And I have a vision of what I want, and I try to show that to our staff and give that to our staff, and it's the staff's job. It's everybody shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm to do that as a cohesive unit. And to see what we've done so far, to see what the players have done so far, especially this summer, it's been awesome to watch. So we got 6 a.m. conditioning test tomorrow morning. And it's going to be fun.
To that, Jake?
I think I'm going to miss that.
If you go to the golf outing.
Jake,
I'll call you. You can tell me about it, though. Yeah.
We got that tomorrow morning, and then we got report day next Tuesday, and then get into the hotel, and we're getting a bunker, and we'll be there on Wednesday and ready to go for training camp.
Talk a little bit about your support staff, nutrition, strength and conditioning. They're doing a lot of innovative things that are getting your players prepared for that conditioning test and also the season.
Yeah, Justin Tress has done an unbelievable job as our strength coach and his whole staff. And the things we've done to change what we've done before and manipulate and make us even better. We hired a sports scientist with Zach Higginbotham. He's done an outstanding job with his role and the things we can do to be creative and setting up practice schedules, but watching guys and seeing the tolls and takes that they hit and how fast, not only how fast guys are running, but the output and input that they're putting on the field. And then Abigail O'Connor and her staff from a nutrition standpoint and how the body mass index has changed throughout the summer and what they've done. It's been awesome to see and awesome to watch. So all that is great, but we got to go play football on Wednesday and see how that's going to impact us as a football team.
So you made the decision, you made the hire to go get Chip Lindsey, and usually when you bring in a coordinator, you say, hey, he's an air raid guy, and he has some air raid background, but he also has the Todd Monken run game, a bit of a unique blend. How do you envision this offense factoring in the talent you have starting for you?
Balance, that's the thing we want. You always want that in an offense. I think everybody says that. But we truly want to emulate that because I think that really gives you the chance to be an explosive offense when you have balance, when you can keep people off guard. So the things that Chip has brought in is not only, different things in the run game, but different variations of schemes in the passing game. And the way he teaches the quarterback, the respect he has for our team, the respect he has for the offense, and he's a true leader of men. And I think when you have that for an offense, the guys really go behind that and they can rally behind that.
I know all of that's going to be great, but it all starts up front on both sides of the ball. Talk to us a little bit about what you've seen in the development of the defensive line and also the offensive line.
The defensive line is going to be deep. I firmly believe we got 10 guys that we can play and we can rotate on the defensive line, which is hard to stop, hard to deal with. And on the offensive side, they've grown as close as they ever have been. Last year we replaced all the starters. We actually lost 6 guys on offensive line. We had 6 guys with the combine. So whenever that happened, there's going to be a hiccup. There's going to be something that has to happen to get them better. And the experience that those guys have had on the field is tremendous. And to watch them grow this offseason and become closer as a team and become closer as a group has been special.
When this program took that next step, a big part of it was behind your leadership as the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator. You handed that responsibility off to one of my former teammates, Grant Newsome. At year 1 as the offensive line coach last year. He's now entering year 2. how does his growth and what have you seen him grow? How does that factor into the offensive line success?
Yeah, let's not talk about Grant too much because I want to keep him for a long time. He's a superstar. He's a superstar in the business. He's young, he's charismatic, he's intelligent, he's smart, he's a great human being, a great leader, and he does everything the right way. And I'm just glad we got him as our O-line coach. But to watch his growth as a leader of that whole room, because it's hard to coach that room. You got a lot of guys and large humans in that room. Yeah. Now, he's a large human, too. He's all a 6'7", 280 pounds. Grant, don't get me mad if I got your weight wrong. But he's done a great job of bringing that room together and building a unit that I think could be successful on Saturdays.
I think one of the things that when people watched the offense last year, a criticism would be, okay, what about the guys on the outside? We're not going to talk about the tight ends because I know Jake's going to get to
I got that in my notes,
But
yes.
the wide receivers, how have you seen them grow? Because the talent is there, and it's not always just on the wide receivers. It's sometimes can be just about the scheme and just not being able to mesh.
Yeah, I think the big thing we've seen is a new attitude, a new mindset in that room. Bringing a guy in like Donovan McCulley has really pushed that room because he's an explosive playmaker. He's made the down-the-field plays that we wanted to see from our room, and he's led to make guys like Fred Moore and Samaj Morgan and Channing Goodwin and Kendrick Bell, step up their game. And it's going to be fun to watch those guys take the next step in our offense.
I love talking to you just because there's so much depth to the program, and another guy that really helped the program push to the next level was Biff Poggi. Mm-hmm. And having him back on staff, what has he meant to you, and what does he mean to this team?
Yeah, Biff's been awesome for me. Just a guy that's obviously had a strong career in high school ranks and then in college, and what he did when he came back. Initially when I was here in 21 and we had Biff back, I was like, this dude is phenomenal. Just all the things, he's a problem solver in every way, and he takes off a lot of things off my shoulders that I don't need to do that he allows himself to do, and he puts himself in. The players trust him, the players love him, and he does a lot of things to help our program be successful.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the freshman quarterback.
I just want to say,
okay.
I really give you guys, we got like 10 minutes into this before bringing it up, so congratulations.
But really, how has he come into the program? I had a chance to watch him, but he doesn't seem like he's a big time. He's coming in big time, and the players seem to gravitate to him as well. And how have you seen that play out behind the scenes?
Man, the coolest thing I think Max Bredeson said to me when he first got there, he's like, Coach, I really wanted to say, I really did. He's like, but I freaking love him. Yeah. I love him. Actually, he's going to be his roommate in training camp. He has just does everything right, works his tail off. He's a tireless worker. I mean, the guy texted me one day coming from spring break. He went with his family to L.A., came back, and he said, I needed to, Coach, can I get in the building? I was like, why? I was like, it's 10 o'clock. Go to sleep. He's like, I want to get some work in. So next morning he sends me a message. It's 1-something in the morning, and he's in the indoor throwing with receivers. So like, the guy wants it. He wants to be great. But the players see that, and it's not a facade. It's not like I'm not trying to be this person. I want to be great, and I want to be a great teammate, most importantly.
The physical gifts are apparent. I mean, he looks like he could even play tight end. He's just a strong-built kid.
He looks like he'd be an outside linebacker.
Could be, seriously. And you talk about his willingness to learn, but what about his capacity? Where is he at in terms of, is he a freshman in high school? Is he at graduate level? In terms of mastering the playbook and being able to lead an offense, where would you say he's at right now?
Yeah, I think he's ahead of schedule. To watch him in the summer and what he's done and to grasp the offense and what he's done, it's been pretty cool to watch, but it's different when you get in pads and you got Derrick Moore and TJ Guy and those guys rushing in front of your face, and JaShawn Barham blitzes off the edge. So we'll see what happens when we get to training camp.
We know there are things that you want to have this team being proficient at when you leave training camp. Are there any things from a head coaching standpoint that you want to use this training camp to get better at?
Yeah, I just want to hone in on situational football, situational awareness, just making sure every single situation that can happen from the start of a game to the end of the game that I'm completely honing on. And now we have guys that help us do that are always in my ear and then talking about that. And we talk about it every single day. Every single day we have a situational meeting about something, about a part of the game. So I want to be completely proficient, and I feel I'm pretty good, obviously, because calling plays as offensive coordinator, you got to know the situation. Yeah. So I understand that, but I want to be able to do that on both sides of the ball.
I know you treat every opponent the same, but it is truthful to say going to Oklahoma is going to be different, right? Have you thought about what that experience is going to be like to you and how you're going to lead the team?
Yeah, I mean, I got that question a lot lately. Honestly, man, I tell you this. I love Michigan. I love everything about this place. This is home. So to me, and it's no disrespect to Oklahoma, like Michigan's my home. So to me, it's just the next opponent. It's going to be a great opponent. It's going to be a great team, but I'm all in on being a Wolverine.
I think the fans back in Ann Arbor are going to enjoy that answer. Coach, we got to talk about Max Bredeson because you bring it up. That's a great story that tells you exactly what you need to know about Bryce, the way what he talked about him, and maybe I didn't think I was going to like him, and of course now I freaking love him. But Max is one of those guys that I feel like if you have him one of those in your locker room, it can change a lot of things, and his story is remarkable. Preferred walk-on. I mean, he's just done everything the right way and kind of really built his own legacy. He talked about his relationship with you and how he feels like he just knows that you genuinely care about him as a human being, which is why it's so easy to play so hard for you. What is the relationship there, and what's the unique attribute of that young man?
Yeah, I mean, I got a special relationship with Brady. Just the way he conducts himself, everything he does off the field is just exemplary of any student athlete you want. You know, gets outstanding grades. He works hard. You never have to tell him what to do. You never have to tell him to slow down. Yeah, you do have to tell him to slow down. You have to, embrace when you have guys like that. They're special. And I feel like I can go to anything with him, and he's going to make sure we sought out the answer for the team. And he's going to give you the best answer for the team, not for himself. And that's not how college football is now, not with the way the landscape is. So he embodies what we call team over me. I think our team does, and it's awesome to be around a guy like that.
Do we have time to talk about the tight ends?
Yeah, of course we do.
I'm just going to say, are you going to just
get a little nervous?
Go? We'll extend the show if we need to.
That's right.
Colson Loveland, I mean, first round pick. That's a big time loss, but I know you guys are excited about Marlon.
Yeah.
Also, the piece is Chip Lindsey, he runs a little bit of 11 personnel, right? So how do you factor in the tight ends to this offense, and what's the ceiling really for that group?
Yeah, I mean, really excited about Marlon Klein. Probably one of the freakier athletes on the team.
He's the top 5 fastest guy on the team.
Yeah.
Not just to the tight ends.
No, on the team. Like a guy that was in high school ran, I think, a 10.8 100-meter at 6'5", 250 pounds. He was 235 pounds, 25 pounds in high school. And, one of the top 5 fastest guys on the team, straight line. So he's an electric athlete. And it's just all about putting it together as a complete tight end. So feel really good about him. Hoed Hansen is a guy that flashed at the end of the year. Obviously Max. Jalen Hoffman is a guy that had a really good spring game and made some big plays. But guys like Deacon Tonelli and Zach Marshall are chomping at the bit to be great, and they know what the standard is in that room. And Coach Steve Kasula, who's our co-offensive coordinator and tight end coach, he does an outstanding job, really training those guys and then giving them the confidence to be that good. And I think that's half the battle too, is a mental game. So they really believe they're about that, and you can when you're in their room, they're a crew like no other.
You can't pick favorites, but I mean that's where you started this journey. I mean, you were a tight end coach. That was the beginning of this journey to head coach. So you got a special.
He's
spot
trying to get you to pick favorites.
Yeah, there is a special spot because I coached that position for 10 years. I coached that position even longer than I coached the offensive line or call plays. So for me, there is a special spot in my heart for that group. But now as a head, I love them all. So there's no favorites, but there's obviously an understanding that I coached that position for a very long time.
Jake, shameless.
Yeah. Got to do it.
Can't help myself. Right?
Coach, before we let you go, I do think about, it doesn't carry over what happened from last year to the next year, but you talk about confidence and how that is such a critical piece. What did closing out the season with 3 straight wins, especially over Ohio State and then Alabama in the bowl game, do you feel like it buoyed you guys, and can you carry any of that over into 2025?
I mean, I think like I said, it showed really the cohesiveness of our team. The Ohio State game's the one we work for every year. We work for all year, 365. So we're not going to shy away from the rivalry and what that's about and how much that means to us. So we're going to continue to work to continue that. But the Alabama game just gave confidence to a lot of guys that didn't play a lot of football. Andrew Sprague started at right tackle, and he hadn't played all year. Jordan Marshall was the MVP and rushed for 100 yards. We had guys like Mason Curtis and Brandon Hillman making starts as sophomores and redshirt freshmen in that game. So that was awesome to be a part of that, and to watch the confidence grow of those guys in that game is really what's going to hone us and push us into this season.
I feel like. Can I ask one more?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
When leadership was such a big factor too. Like when this program, after the COVID season, turned around, I mean, it was just so apparent that the leadership was taken to another level. Yeah. What's your observation on the player leadership on this roster?
I mean, I think the guys you saw when you talked to Max and Derrick and Ernest, they're elite leaders, and they're guys that not only are about it or talk about it, but they're being about it. And there's other guys on the team, TJ Guy, DeShaun Barham, even guys like Gio El-Hadi, Greg Crippen on the offensive side of the ball. Jordan Marshall's a young guy, but he's a guy that wants to be a leader, that has that drive to be a leader. So to watch the guys do it on the field is great, but to watch them off the field and try to problem solve things off the field is awesome too.
Coach, we're looking forward to watching your team this year, and I feel like there are so many good stories. I know everybody's excited to be there for camp. If there was one guy who, I know we've talked about a lot of different guys, but is there one guy that maybe we should make sure we keep our eye on next year that you haven't talked about?
Yeah, probably the guy that nobody is talking about is Cole Sullivan. Linebacker, probably one of the freakier athletes on the team. 6'5", I think he's like 240 pounds now. He's going to play linebacker and edge. He could probably play edge right now, but he plays linebacker. He's an absolute freak show. Nobody talks about him. You walk in the room, you'd be like, who the heck is that guy? But he doesn't say much. And I feel like at every position there's a guy like that. And Cole comes to mind because I was literally leaving the building and I was walking and I saw Cole. But he's a guy that just, he looks like an absolute freak show. And he could probably play tight end. He's asked me to catch a couple balls. I've been tempted to, but I don't want to do that to Wink. But he's a guy that's gonna really go on the scene this year and have a great year.
Jake's going to be stumping for him. Yeah, I could tell already. I can hear it. I can hear it. Sherrone Moore, thank you so much for the time and the insight. We appreciate it, and looking forward to watching this team 146 this year.
I appreciate it. Go Blue.